don't. Oh, you hit go live. I need more coffee.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
go get your coffee.
Okay.
I'll
I'll be right back.
down the fort.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Future Cannabis Project. Shout out to all the supporters, the viewers, the people contributing to the Dagga.love website. We're just
gosh!
Hey, we got a special guest. We're just kind of shooting it this morning. Who we got here, Peter?
Look, is that you? Are you being shy? Come here. Can I see your little bear? Nice. You're bringing your bear to camp? It was her birthday on the 3rd. You are 4. Can you come show me how old you are? Are you 3? Are you 4? Yeah.
Oh, you're almost able to drive.
That's right.
My bear's name is Peter.
Your bear's name is Peter?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's Peter Bear. I love it. That is such a good name for a fuzzy, cuddly teddy bear. I was a fuzzy teddy bear until last night when my wife made me shave my beard off.
That's funny.
I have the opposite problem. Kara's like, no, don't shave. And I'm like, no, I feel homeless.
I
can't grow.
I got all like razor burn here after I shaved, and I was like, this is exactly why I hate shaving. And then my wife's like, maybe if you shaved every day, like you wouldn't get that. And I was like, I don't want to shave every day.
No, I hate. That's why I have a beard. I hate shaving every day, and I hate razor burn. And it's just like, nope, I'm just gonna let it out.
Yeah.
But it works.
So anyway, we
can grow a beard.
So before we went live, we were talking about the joy of community drama and people getting caught doing stuff back in the day, and everybody knows what we're talking about, or some people do. But and so we were talking, and I was talking about how like the stuff I was doing, 19, 20, basically through college, I didn't think about much at the time, but like afterwards, my anxiety would build up thinking about what would have happened had I got caught back in 1995, 6, 7, 8 by like mass state troopers, and just what would have happened to my, like, your life's going this way and then suddenly like it's just on a totally different direction.
You're
and
learning
so
how to make toilet water.
Even to this day, every time a cop gets behind me in traffic on the high, like my stress level is related to cops. And so Jeff, you had a story.
Yeah. So before we went live, Damon and Peter were talking about, I kind of caught the tail end of it, but it sounded like having like your house inspected while you were growing.
Oh, yeah.
And
I forgot about that.
So when I popped in, I was just, like I said, popped in and I kind of caught the tail end of it. And it immediately reminded me of when my wife and I were selling our old house before we bought this place. I had a full-on indoor grow going, and everything kind of lined up to where I was like finishing and harvesting these plants. And so I had this whole bedroom filled with it was a veg and a flower and whole dry space set up. Well, the inspectors come through and they have to look through everything. So they walk through and they had to go into my grow. So they're looking at the whole grow and kind of going, well, yeah, as long as I can see in these areas, then I can tell if it's, there's no like water damage and stuff like that. So the inspector was able to go through while my grow was going and basically like go, okay, yep, this is going to pass inspection. So I was like sweating that whole time, and it's legal here in Colorado, but I was still like, this is wild to me. Like the house inspector, the mortgage broker, like everybody knew that I had this just indoor grow going. And so then it comes to like, we passed inspection, and now the realtor, which luckily we were friends with, is starting to show the house, and I still have a grow going. So they're showing the house, and I've got an instruction on the door of going into the grow explaining like what they're allowed to do. And so as they're showing the house, they're opening this bedroom door and being like, here's the room, here's how big it is, here's your window and shit. And we end up like, basically somebody was like, okay, I had plants hanging by the end of it, and somebody ended up buying the house. But the mortgage broker wanted to come in and see. So my wife ended up giving him a tour of our house with this whole thing. And by the end of it, my real estate agent was like, I think that's a first in Colorado. And my mortgage broker was like, couldn't even fathom that we would sell a house with plants actively growing in it. And I ended up harvesting everything like right as we were closing. So everything was taken down after all the shit was, it lined out nicely, but it was still so wild to go through the entire process of selling a home while I had plants growing. And the real estate agent was like, yeah, we'll see what happens. And the mortgage broker's like, yeah, we'll see what happens. And the inspector's like, yeah, well, it passes. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? Nobody even batted an eye about it other than like, I don't know if this will go through because of the federal shit, but nope, it was perfectly fine. Sweating the whole time. Like, oh my God, somebody is going to like call the cops and have like there's going to end up being like a big ass inspection on this grow, and nobody even said a thing.
Well, and you know what the stupid thing is like for you, especially, you know, actually like pretty much for everybody that's in the community, it's her medication, right? So you're forced with doing what's right for yourself. Like we were all raised, you know, you don't punch down with people who are disabled and you don't make comments about their medication. But then, right? Like, so it's like, it's a hard knocks life for cannabis patients.
Right. Well,
So
that was the nice thing about being in Colorado is nobody really second guessed it. Like I'm sweating the whole time, but my real estate agent was like, oh yeah, cool. And my mortgage broker, I'm pretty sure my mortgage broker smoked herb anyway, because he's super anti-alcohol and really laid back. So, and my wife, I think, said that he was even going to take one of the buds. So I'm almost positive that he smokes herb.
I was going to ask you, did anybody pinch from your plants while you were gone?
No, nobody pinched, but a couple people joked about it. And that was kind of the whole thing. Like even my real estate agent was like, I might put this on my like resume that I've like sold a house. I mean, if you're trying to sell your house and you got plants growing, like if you've got a real estate agent willing to do that, that's a rarity. Like, I don't think there's a single one in Grand Junction where we're at that's like down with that. I mean, I might be wrong, but she was so chill about it because she's like, she knew. Because she's like my wife's mom's friend and we had like hung out before. So it was just like our relationship was already chill anyways. But I don't know. It's just wild to me, that whole thing. And I would imagine that's becoming more and more of a thing as legalization and like I would say normalization kind of sweeps the country. Like it's just weed now, but there's still a big group of us that are like still a little paranoid from the past where you can't, like you guys were talking about choppers flying overhead. Like I get the same, even when I know it's a medical chopper flying from the hospital, I'm still like, oh shit.
Dude, when there was time, yeah, like standing in your yard holding your license, I'm federally legal.
Yeah,
go away. Like the guy in the, well, they say they can't see it, but yeah, no, that guy in the chopper can absolutely read that piece of paper. Keep going, buddy. Right. So the where I live, there's like, so the RCMP in combination with the Canadian military, they'll fly around this valley where I live because there's a lot of guerrilla growers out here. And yeah, it's like the running joke is they fly over my house to use the field level infrared camera to like, but haha, I switched to LEDs, bitches.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think that'll ever die in our generation, like the younger generation, you know, the 19, 20-year-olds that have pretty much grown up with it being legal.
Yeah.
Those Gen Zers and Gen Alpha, they'll tell the stories about how crazy Jeff and Damon were about, oh yeah, helicopter would be flying over, 2 cities over, and they're on flight radar making sure it's not coming towards the house. So
Well, I don't remember who was saying that. I think I saw it on LinkedIn, and it kind of like resonated with me for a little bit, and I never really thought of it this way, but when Gen Z, Gen Alpha, when they really hit that age like you're talking about, there's this point where nobody really remembers that the legacy outlaws, like, and the comparison was moonshiners. Like, can anybody really name like one of the most legendary moonshiners to run across? And
Kennedy.
I couldn't. I couldn't name a single one. And that kind of, I was like, holy shit, there's going to be a point where like all of us that still sweat, that whole generation is just going to be like, yeah, those guys one time. And now we can just do this. And I hope to think it's not that way, but I don't know. It's kind of wild to think about that. Like one day, I think there's going to be a generation where they don't really acknowledge where we've been. You know what I mean?
That's the whole point though, about like, especially what happened up here. It's up here in Canada. A lot of people don't understand it was the medical patients and the whole injunction that really forced the federal government to create this system that we have. And now you look at the licensed producers and that, and even the retailers, and they're not understanding that the only reason why we got what we have now in Canada is because medical patients kept suing the government, kept standing up for these rights. And that's the thing. Now it's been replaced with convenience, right? You can, instead of a $75 dab cart from a medical dispensary, you're getting a $22 cart, and it's labeled as full cannabis extract with distillate. How does that work? Right? That's a distillate pen, right? So is that sort of thing where the government up here, oh, you guys are unsafe and you're not doing any quality assurance. But now it's worse because customers have no idea what they're buying, right? Like, yeah, okay, they're moving to like an opaque or almost transparent like cutout box in the Mylar bags. But that still doesn't let you smell it. That still doesn't let you like, okay, and it's washed out too. It's not absolutely see-through. So
right,
grow your own, grow at home, because those I think that's where the I don't want to use this word because there's a lot of people that are friends of mine that hate this word, but that's where the legacy comes in, is the home growers, right? Carrying that information, that knowledge, that, and that, at least that's what I'm seeing, is because the home grower cares more than somebody that's going to the dispo.
Yep. And that's kind of my argument to that, is as long as people continue to grow at home and pass along like that, I don't want to say the knowledge, but like the essence of the difference between home grow and commercial production, and how, because I think that's what leads into the argument of craft, right? Like the home growers are trying to maintain that by being like, no, you have to be like 2 plants max or it's not craft, right? They're going to this extreme level because I think there is this level of like preservation of legacy through having this private hobby kind of medicinal aspect to it, where you're like, no, it's not about yield, it's not about profits, it's not about. And when that bleeds into the community, where you end up like, oh yeah, actually I do have extra, let me share. Now you end up with that like, oh yeah, this guy's standing out above all the commercial stuff. And then the question comes up like, well, how big can we scale this and turn it for a profit and still maintain that legacy status, that craft status, And that's where the separation really, that's why I think people hate that word legacy. People like really start to dismiss the word craft.
Well, so you guys have got a really good setup down there in Colorado, like Fort Collins. Do you see yourself as a community healer? Do you see David as a community healer?
Well, so we approach it very differently, because with what David does, he has to kind of conform a little bit to what his group of patients want, right? In order to maintain his level of income. Everything I look for is for me. Like it's for my specific needs. And then when that bleeds out into the community with the people that appreciate it, that's where it ends up. And so what I would consider like my clients is much smaller, so I can't maintain like a full-on income with it. So I'm not as limited as he is, but he can still benefit from what I'm doing, right? And this is why I don't really focus on consumers, because I can go, oh my God, bro, I found this is amazing for me, let me send it your way, and you can let your clients feel it out. And this is what cracks me up, because I literally had one that was an amazing painkiller, and the people that I researched with came back and all said the same thing. They're like, dude, I've never had a variety do this before. And I handed it to David, and none of his clients liked it because the name, it was called Poppy Tar Diesel. And if you really break that down, what is poppy? What is the tar of a poppy?
Heroin.
Yeah, it was very much like an opiate, but everybody read it as poopy tar. And nobody wanted it because
that's still a good name. That's still a good poopy tar.
And I'm just like, this is insane to me. And David wanted to change the name, and I'm like, nah, that kind of doesn't really, like, if Brother Mendel's down with it, but there still has to be some kind of homage to him and what he did, because I don't want his, it's not fair to him for him to put in that work and have that, and then nobody be able to find the genetics because they don't know the actual name. So I don't know, there was kind of this up in the air with it, but it blew my mind that people would dismiss a variety that really works just because they don't like the name. Like you're in a medical world and you're not going to get into it because you don't like the name. And that's where I'm like, their loss, like I can't
think of any names that really, like Matasuka and Valley Kush, like the ATF, that one is kind of, oh, did I die? I died.
Yep.
Yeah, my screen froze up. But you can still hear me.
I can still hear you and see you moving.
Oh, my end, it totally died.
Well,
yeah, no, anyway, that's a me problem. I'll reboot here in a second. But yeah, like the Alaskan Thunderfuck, that's really the only one, because like, when I'm trying to explain to my elderly parents, it's I just kind of leave that out. But the whole renaming strains, yeah, we've got to honor where stuff came from. Like, I know grandma's not going to want to buy like poopy tar, right? Like she's not going to want to do that, but everybody else, like it has its place, and it shows, because cannabis breeding and cannabis itself, it's exactly like every other plant except for how the names work, and even the breeding.
I think you can get away with that and still pay homage to the breeder through just getting like an agreement. Like anytime I'm like, bro, I found a cut, I'm gonna call it something else, I consult him about that, where I'm like, hey brother, do you think, what do you think I call this cut? I'm thinking this. And he's like, yeah, whatever you want. But now he knows when I send him a cut back and he breeds with it, he'll say, this strain, this cut. So he's able to put that together on his menu. So it allows that different name to go back to him. And you can get you could call a cut whatever you want, but as long as it's, as long as the breeder knows what that name is, then they can kind of add it, and they can, you can almost, like with Girl Scout cookies, there's like 3-4 famous cuts. I know of the Forum cut and the OGKB cut. Everybody knows like that's Girl Scout cookies. So you kind of, you know what I mean? Like there's that element of like, oh yeah, this goes back to the breeder anyway, so it's cool. But when it just gets thrown out there and there's no tie back, I think that's when it makes it difficult for people to actually source and hunt their own stuff, because now you're just locked into a specific cut, which sucks.
Well, so what's happened up here is legitimately, if something won't sell, they change the name on it, change the SKU. And we did really well back in the day policing that in Canada, but now you can walk in and something's Blue Dream, but Blue Dream doesn't sell anymore, so they're like, well, let's call it this and see what happens, right? Like, and then there's a whole bunch of shenanigans going on, which is, I guess that's just cannabis, right? Like,
well, I think I don't know, in my head it comes back to this separation. There's commercial, and then because there's a different line of integrity. Like if we reapplied the word legacy to include like the unwritten code that was when everything wasn't necessarily legal, you start to talk about like these certain things that I think a lot of people did when it came to, the whole process versus commercialization. None of that matters. So you can just just use a different name because that people are just bored of the name and not the actual product. But I could be wrong too. But
no,
I feel like
I agree with you. And like to highlight that when you go and you buy cigarettes, you don't know if it's Kentucky or Amazonian or anything like that. You're just buying that name brand, Players, Benson and Hedges, DeMaurier, Marlboro, like that sort of thing. Yeah. Okay. Peter, are you still around? No, he's not around.
No.
I need to reboot my computer because I can't see anything.
He's still like on, so he's just on mute.
Yeah. Hey, Peter, come hang. Wow. Oh man, I can't spell this morning, Jeff.
He's back.
He's back.
Sorry, I'm frantically running around, and then I was listening.
I need 30 seconds. My computer jammed up on me, Peter. I got to reboot.
Go for it.
Okay, thanks, man.
Sorry, I'm
Oh, you're good, Peter. Keep doing what you're doing.
Packing orders, and Jesse Dodd's gonna jump on a little bit.
A little later.
Perfect. Biovortex. My stupid reception. Yeah, sorry. Just as Damon was saying that, I was like, there was an order that like Kevin Jodry's clones, like I don't fulfill that. So if an order has like seeds and clone, I have to like put all that. I created a spreadsheet to share with him.
Oh, okay.
So he sees like line by line, like order number, what it is, name of the person, shipping address.
Wow. Okay, so when there's like a seed purchase and a clone, then you have to relay to him all that information.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing
so
that you coordinate that. I mean,
well, it's good when like the third party, like when something gets out of my control, my stress levels go up because I can't control it, right?
Yep.
So I try to like streamline it so that there's no you know, so with Kevin, I was like, and when you ship it, CC me on the email with the shipping information so that I can like, that's how we close the loop, right? And then I have like a column in the spreadsheet, which is like shipped ? So you just type in yes, and then CC me on the email, and now I know like it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why. Let me see, because I'm sure Luna is still sleeping.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I gotta go like to the door so I can get reception to text people who are like, I didn't see Jesse's response because I got no reception.
Oh, technology!
I'm still blown away that I'm in the middle of LA and my fucking AT&T.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're supposedly in this peak technological advancement. We're going to the moon and got like satellites and shit, but we can't get good cell phone reception everywhere we're at.
Speaking of helicopters,
Jesus.
Maybe they were scouting the like 50 plants I have out here right now.
Right.
Okay. All right. Who I heard is that Damon or something?
Yeah.
Else? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There we go. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah. So note to everybody in chat box, when you're building your own PC, don't install everything that they're trying to get you to install. Yeah. Keep it bare bones, right? So anyway, I digress. I should actually have that all sorted out by now because I've had it for a month. But every once in a while, there's something that's like it wants to check for a virus and run something else, and then it just right. Shared resources. Anyway, I digress. So my apologies, Jeff.
You're good, brother. I know.
It's funny. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I felt like you were kind of in the middle of making a point before you were like, I gotta go.
It's the unwritten rules, right? And the newer generation, they don't care about the unwritten rules. And it's kind of up to us old heads, and then, you know, guys like Mark and Dr. Levy, like that have been smoking since the 70s, to kind of keep making sure that, you know, us as the younger generation tells the younger generation, you've got to honor the plant, right? Like a 10,000 milligram edible is not for a new user. Like, let's be realistic here, right? Like there has to be boundaries. Yeah, and then NVIDIA updates it. So, yeah, no, Shadow Mech is totally understanding where I'm coming from. That's the other thing.
Is Gorski in the chat or no for his garden tour?
I'll text him on. Let's see if he can jump in.
Well, and that kind of pushes, like what you were saying, Damon, kind of pushes this like narrative of why we even do like the Future Cannabis Project podcast. Like it's about, like, before the show started, you guys were talking about like journalism, right? Like proper journalism and how you present information and what you do on an integrity level. And I think that, you know, when it comes to, again, education and presenting stuff, it's up to essentially the people passing along the information to basically be like, yeah, this is as far as we know, but we do know this much. And this is why this is important. And not just chasing this super narrow-minded avenue of, and we do it with the compounds, like, this one compound. And people like are just now kind of realizing, even on a scientific level, that it's, not just one compound. So it's the same thing. Like, you have to really look at it from a broader spectrum. And that's where everybody says, like, you have to honor the plant, because you can't, I mean, you can breed, but you can't expect a specific thing all the time with it by isolating only specific traits. And that's where that legacy kind of motto comes forward, is there's more to it than just this. And that's what's hard to teach. And the education side of it is, yeah, just because it hits me like this doesn't mean it's going to hit you like this. And just because I need this doesn't mean you need this. And that's the part that we can't seem to wrap our minds around. We want to push for as much consistency as possible across the masses. And that's not possible with cannabis. It's not aspirin, you know?
Yeah, no, you can't take a 10 milligram dose and have that baseline right across the population.
Yeah.
But that's plant medicine, right? Like yesterday with Dr. Ryan, I never ever considered hops a natural health product. But what this crazy guy is doing is he's making RSO, sorry, but that's a term everybody knows, with hops. He's just doing an ethanol extract, letting all the ethanol evaporate off, and then he's collecting the resin and then infusing it. Yeah, FIHO, full extract hops oil. I like that name. FIHO, that's got a really good ring to it.
Yeah, do you want to give a quick, like, what were your
I was gonna actually ask
takeaways from yesterday? Like, what left an impression on Damon after yesterday's conversation?
That I really think the market needs to have hops infused products along cannabis. That as far as testing and all of that goes, the commercial people need
so the whole medicinal benefit of the hop plant, which kind of
that blew my mind, right?
Yeah.
So I might go buy a couple of IPAs for tonight.
Well, but I think didn't he say, like, drinking it as alcohol is not the same as like doing an alcohol extraction or something, or like you get different, you're pulling different stuff out. I was psyched when he started talking alcohol extraction, because I was like, let's go.
Right.
Well,
I only caught bits and pieces, but I'm like, what if you juice it?
Oh, I didn't even ask him.
Yeah.
That.
Like, what if you juice it fresh and just, like, because I juice cannabis buds. I'm like, leaves. I'll juice the shits together.
Yeah.
And not get drunk.
Or just put it in a salad, or.
And I asked that in the comments. I don't know if he touched on it, but yeah, like, what if you eat it in a salad?
He's like, you can. He's like, but what I would do is I do the extract and then infuse the resin into my salad dressing.
Right? See, I thought about that after I asked the question. I was like, well, if you did like an alcohol extract and you do like an olive oil infusion.
One question that did come up in like the comments after is, so like hops pellets, right? They compress them, and somebody was wondering if cannabis is ever going to be like an alfalfa pellet, a hop pellet, like that sort of thing. And then you buy your pellet, you do your extraction, like, who knows, right? I always want flour, always flour.
I mean, yeah, that to me is just like little mini brickweeds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let me sell you a 1/2 ounce brick. And to me, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, but that's and then what was the other thing on the testing side of stuff? The two of us kind of came to the conclusion that licensed producers, dispensaries, home growers, in order for things to change, everybody's got to be unified. And the problem in Canada is that 90% of the commercial market is new people that don't understand how we got here. Right. They have no idea that it started in 99 with Terry Parker, and then 2001, 2, and 3 with David Malvo Levine. And then we had the MMAR Coalition Against Repeal. And then we had Owen Smith, and like, they don't understand. And it's I think that's by design. Right. So
100%.
We have to be unified. you know, that sort of thing. And it goes back to the journal, and we can't be an echo chamber either. That's one thing. That's one thing that, like, you go into LinkedIn, it's such an echo chamber, right? Like, nobody's really, you don't have all, and that's what I like about FCP is you get all sides of the conversation. And people do a fairly decent job of taking off their company hat and putting on the plant hat when they get here. And that's the only way it's going to work, right? That's the only way that we're going to end up with a system that makes sense.
That's funny to me is the people in the gardens, the people at the grows, they understand the consumer because most of them are. So it's easy for them to go, okay, I'm talking to people who appreciate this. And it's all kind of the same thing. Like, well, we've got like investors, we've got, you know, it all of a sudden becomes this disconnect, and now we've got people who aren't like in the same realm as the consumers or the cultivators, but they're the ones like determining what the market is. And that's what's hard, is there's this massive separation between who's determining what the market is and who is the actual market. And that blows. I'm like, that doesn't happen with anything else, right? Like, how does that happen?
Well, and the funny part is about investors. So he who has the gold makes the rules, right? Some of these investors come from countries where you're put to death over cannabis, but they like money. So like that's where it's like Planet Bizarre when you get like when you're going through like a publicly traded company and you're seeing like the disclosure on where the money comes from, or even just like some registered LLC and they're disclosing, you know, where the holdings are coming from, and you're like, huh, they don't have weed in that country. What the hell's going on here?
So it's wild to think like, and I think Peter said he was trying to get somebody on, I think from, was it Santa Cruz? I think more north, but he was saying that that's like a county that's working on like, I think like the farm to consumer model.
And I think he was the one leading the charge to push that to become a reality. So in the same way that you can go to an apple winery and do a vineyard tour,
like
a case of wine that you purchased.
Yeah. So that's how you're going to really influence the market, is letting the farmers drive like what's real. Right. So if the farmers can really get in touch with the consumer, then it completely bypasses that, like, he who makes the gold.
I'll be back in like 30 minutes.
All right. But that to me is the answer to that, really, is put the farmers right in contact with the consumers. And I don't understand like why that's a hard thing, because we can do it with vineyards, right? Like I can drive like 15 minutes from my house and walk on a vineyard tour, like just walk up and down the grapevines and then walk into where they store their wine and then go taste and buy some wine. Like that should be a thing with cannabis.
It's not. We have farm gate in Canada, depending on what province, and you're like, there's no bulk buying or like, I want that bud, I want that bud, I want that bud. And no, you can't. It's all prepackaged, right? So you can buy from the farm, you can go tour the farm, but it's not there yet. There is one farm that I've been to in Nanaimo, and they have a lake. Then they have 2 acres that has like $500,000 in fencing and security shit, which is like, okay, thank you. Like I'm happy. And these are good, real salt of the earth farmers. They have a grape orchard. And then on the other side of their property, they have this nice cannabis outdoor facility, a bare bones and very simple extraction lab. It fits 2 people, but it's perfect for them. Dabble Cannabis, and I'll get a hold of Alana or her dad and see if they can come next week and do a farm tour for you guys on their outdoor, because from what I understand, they start harvest in a couple of weeks, so the plants are probably at that nice nice level. So it and they have an Airbnb on their property.
That's
so you
dope.
could, yeah, and it's a nice Airbnb. So like, if I get, my plan is to go out September 15th through the 21st.
Right.
But I'm too busy, and I'm kind of enjoying being at home right now.
Right.
Like, it's I work too much. I'll take on projects and then not sleep and just burn through them, get them done. Like, that's the type of person I am. Like, if there's a job to be done, I get it done, then sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Peter went to the post office, right?
Yeah. Yep. Dude, it's so wild down there, like the way the union works and the way, like, so I've been there a year essentially, and because I'm not like full time, they have to fire me for a week and then rehire me. And then that happens basically every year until for 2 years. And then they offer me what's called a career position, where I'm basically can be a part of like this full-time thing, and you get all the dope benefits. But essentially, like, if I want to keep staying part-time where I'm at, then I have to like decline that. And then every year this is a thing where they fire me for a week and then rehire me. And it's not like a layoff. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but yeah, it's weird as shit to me. I don't even fully understand it. But
so I got a question. Do they have to give you 2 weeks notice before you're getting laid off, or is this just something that's coming?
Essentially, yeah. So I got a letter in the mail, and then my manager contacted me like 30 days before it happened.
Okay.
They were like, yeah, this is a thing. And even before because they have the option to not rehire me. So I was like, when I kind of got the notice and I talked to my manager, I was just basically like, so what happens after this? They're like, oh, we're going to rehire you if you want to come back. Like, for sure. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm down for that. But they have the option to be like, nah, we're separating. And I think, like I said, I think it's because of the union, because once you're offered career, it's pretty difficult. Like, even after your 90 days, it's pretty difficult to lose your job.
Yeah, that's the same
so
up here.
Gives them an opportunity, which I think is good, dude. I mean, I've worked with some really lazy people, and it's so hard to keep, like, when you're just trying to make a living and go through your day, and you're just, morale's up, and you're working with somebody that's really difficult to work with. Just on a like pull your load kind of thing.
Do your fucking job.
Just
man.
Do the minimum. That's all I'm asking. Just do your minimum and we'll be good. And I can always appreciate when there's an opportunity for them to be like, nah, we've got a little higher standards than that. Because union jobs typically do attract people who are just so easy to get in and then not produce.
Oh yeah. So BC, the British Columbia Government Employees Union are taking job action, and these are the people that supply cannabis to the retailers. So that's one thing that I am happy with about having federal legalization, is there is that opportunity for employees to unionize. So like with one of the other people I work for, they're a unionized contractor for cranes, and the owner's whatever, he's from the old days. But I agree with it, because it makes everything very cut and dry. When's your raise? How much are you getting paid?
Yep.
What do you get paid in this situation? What do you get paid in that situation? Right. And I find, for the most part, unionized employees are happier.
Well, not. It's you have like a certain level of backing from coworkers. Like, that's essentially what it is. And I'm not 100% with everything like the union produces, but at the same time, like, for the most part, it levels the playing field on that allows you to set up a long-time career. And that's what people want. And I think in the like even in like the agriculture industry, it's not necessarily, I think there is like a farmers union, but it's not the same as like what we're talking about. But for the most part, like having that backing makes things so much easier. And it's one of the things that makes commercial cannabis in the States so I think rocky, because first of all, companies can't claim anything on taxes. Like no employees, not like nothing. It is so that
do you think they're ever gonna change that? Like
that's like, I think so. Here's the thing: if they push for Schedule 3 out here, then at least that's a thing, and then the union thing can kick into gear, and you can actually start talking to farmers who are getting paid like a decent wage, like somebody who's just 9 to 5 or whatever, 16-hour days working under the canopy. Like they can make more than minimum wage at that point, which I'm in huge support for. But at what cost? That's always the thing. It's like, at what cost, right? You dangle this little carrot in front of you and you forget about all of the stuff out here that really matters. And it's like, just hold tight a little bit longer so that we can get like hopefully full on decriminalization. And then we can start talking about like all the levels of employees reaching benefit and really turning this into something that honors the plant, honors, you know, really goes towards the consumer and can lean into this holistic thing, right? And we can really look at like, oh yeah, now we can get into hops cannabis combos beyond just beer and smoke, right? Like opens the doors.
I like that you touched on the whole job security thing, career, right? We all know people. 950 licensed producers in Canada. I can think of 3 that still have the same master grower. Owner operators, different story, but like pubcos and stuff, there's 3 original master growers still in those facilities. And like, it's because you have your C-suite that doesn't understand the nuances of farming, because I'm not going to pretend cannabis is its marvelous thing that is so unique to itself. So the community I live in is a big like market garden, like lettuce, corn, you know, vegetable and produce producer. They have to bring in one of the farms brings in, and they've been doing this for 20 years now, and it's generally the same guys, but it's dudes from Mexico coming up to work the fields, making 22, 23 bucks an hour Canadian. And that's they're not union, but that's still pretty good wage. But the federal government's involved because these are work permits. So you as a or the owner, you can't screw around because you're under such scrutiny, right?
Yeah.
Other orchards and stuff. I've got one just down the road. They're great at hiring the kids. It's non-union, but again, they're paying a 16-year-old 20 bucks an hour to pull cherries and stuff. So it's, you know, that's a good thing. On the cannabis side, they do need, and you know, it's I'm gonna make people mad, but it needs to happen. It needs to happen.
That's where the farm to consumer thing comes in, because now you have this closed loop, this closed sales loop, where you start off low level and you make minimum wage. And that means like as a bud tender, and then once you're done as a bud tender, then you move up to processing, which is trim and buck and all that stuff. And then you move up to, you know, farmhand, where you're actually dealing with the live plants. And then you move up to, you know, supervisor, and then eventually head grower. And through that process, you know, show your level of interest and how far you want to climb. And that's honestly how it is at the post office. Like you literally choose how far you want to go, and the higher you go, the more money you make and the more benefits you essentially get. But you can still make a really good living at that mid lower level where you're like, oh shit, I can pay my bills and, buy a house and afford my groceries and be able to take my wife on a vacation once a year. Like that's, depending on where you're at, like I think that's reasonable even within the cannabis industry. And right now in the States, it's absolutely not.
Well, so that kind of touches on, and it's not even just the American dream anymore; it's the North American dream. And
Right.
so I've got boys. All three are super intelligent, but instead of me, pumping their tires up, being like, "You're going to be an owner and you're going to be a doctor," I'm very abrupt, and I'm like, "Listen, the world does need ditch diggers. And from what I'm seeing is the ditch diggers that are paid properly are happier than the owners of the companies. The owners of the companies are miserable people for the most part. Like they're not happy. They got to worry about like workers' compensation, insurance, taxes, like all of that. Where I'm trying to, teach my kids, do put 200% into what you're doing, and you're going to get paid appropriately because you're making this guy that has or lady that has all these problems, you're making their life easier. And so like, because that whole saying, well, the world needs ditch diggers, when I was a kid growing up, that was a put down, right? That was saying that you weren't going to go anywhere in life except for manual labor. Manual labor in some industries, you can make $120,000 a year Canadian, and you only need a grade 10 education, right? So it's right. Like,
well, okay. So that actually brings me to a conversation that I had with a client at the post office, kind of about like, how do you, like he was telling me like how he made money as like a lower, basically installing telephone lines. And for him, it was in the stock market. It was investing. Like he's able to work for like this phone company, essentially like locating lines or whatever. But when he learned about the stock market was when he started really being able to make a retirement, like really be able to put stuff aside for the future, which allowed him to do more with the money he was making like directly in. And that kind of was like, kind of talking about where we're at. If we get into this point in the States where it becomes nationally illegal, it opens it up into the stock market. Do you guys up in Canada have a decent cannabis stock? Like, is that a thing up there?
So yeah, 2015 when they all first started rolling to being publicly traded. Things were good. If you got in early and out early, they were good. And then 2018 in December, 2 months after legalization, all of a sudden the house of cards fell. Everybody cashed out. Right. Yep. So there's a lot of people that ended up holding the bag on some companies. What I'm seeing now is it's on the uptick. The market the tree is shook and now it's kind of resetting, but instead of seeing this logarithmic or exponential growth, you're seeing realistic growth of other commercially packaged good industries. Now, it's all mickweed. I don't know of one publicly traded cannabis farm that has good dried flower. They have good pens and stuff, like, and that's that's its own thing. Right. But as far as flower goes, it's the home grower. Right. It's the grow your own. If you want good flower, that's how you get it.
That's insane to me that legalization has pushed it back to that.
Well, it makes sense because like going back to the whole cost and everything and shareholders, that's so me, the UBC chemo, it's a 28 gram plant. It's not a big yielder, right? So for that plant to show up in a facility, they're going to they have to cross it with like God bud or something that, does that at least a pound a plant. Right. So it's that sort of thing. Like yeah. And so you're not getting,
but that's
certain
kind of
flavors.
That kind of loops around back to like, how do you respectively set the market price, right? Like, and I know, like, I think one of the things is we kind of speak almost disconnected because I'm so infused in the American market that I can't even fathom what it's like with the government's hands involved in it, like as deep as it is in Canada. So like you have to forgive me for that.
Okay. So here, I'll break it down for you. You have to buy your excise stamps before anything's even cropped off, and they make you pay $5,000 in these stamps, right? But then you have to know where you're selling it because each province has its own tax stamp.
Holy shit.
So to get a license, a controlled substance drug license to sell mushrooms, it costs $45 for your security clearance. Cannabis, it's like $4,000. Like there's a huge expense, and it's a different process because instead of you just going to your local detachment to get a criminal, like a CPIC or a criminal record check, you have to go through the cannabis portal that Health Canada set up, give them your passport. An RC is assigned, like a Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer is assigned to you to dig. So depending on what's out there in the public realm, do you know what a stingray is?
A stingray?
Yeah. Do you know what that is? Okay. So a stingray is it's a spoofed cell tower. And from what I understand, they don't even need to use these anymore, but you would drive by it. Your cell phone would ping that device and then go. But while it's pinging that device is pulling everything off your phone. And so like you're signing to have this security clearance done, you're signing that's totally fine. Yeah. In a nutshell, like, but, so that's one aspect. The reporting and stuff, seed to sale, that sort of thing. You're only allowed a one-time transaction to bring in cannabis genetics from a non-licensed source. So like you better know what your game plan is, because then all of a sudden when you want to bring in new strains, you've got to deal with the guys that understand royalties and that sort of thing.
So okay, all right. So you guys just have the same fucked up version of metric as we do, essentially.
I guess so. Yeah. Not as much drama around it, and it's ran a little bit better. Sorry, metric, but I know it. Like I only know a very minimum amount about what's gone on with metric, and that was just by watching and listening to what Nelson was saying, like Poetry of Plants. It's more efficient. Our metric system is way more efficient. Like,
but it's still a bunch of extra bullshit that doesn't need to be around, that absolutely drives up the cost for the farmer while the consumer is expecting a lower cost product.
So here's the crazy thing. I have buddies in a different jurisdiction that have retail stores, and where I'm at for certain products, I pay less than what the retailer in another province does. Go figure that out. Yeah. So like just a hypothetical.
Yeah.
A cart for me, $22. That same cart for my friend in a different province to buy from their provider is $26. And then they have to sell it to the customer for like 35 just so that they can make and me, I get to pay 22, 26, right? Like with tax. So
What?
yeah, because the way
the way it moves down the chain, essentially.
Where I'm at, all you have to do as a farm from a different jurisdiction or within the province is register with the provincial government. It's like $3,000 or something. These other jurisdictions, the retailer can't buy direct from the farm. They've got to buy from the state-owned distribution company, right? So that's, we got Travis talking about socialism and stuff. Yeah, where I'm at, it's a free open market. So the government used to deal in, like, we didn't have we had private liquor stores, but for the most part, all the liquor stores came from government-owned operations. So the governor, I guess is what you would call him, the premier that we have, he turned around and privatized that system where the government just deals with inspections and compliance on alcohol, but they sold all of their stores and they don't sell. They're not in the business of selling alcohol. They're in the business of regulating the sale of alcohol. And they did the same thing with cannabis. So like,
they just interjected themselves as the middleman and called it regulating.
Yep. But they don't handle the product. They don't see it. They don't touch it. The wholesalers are independently owned. Other provinces, though, they're like, nope, you have to buy it from us, and you can't undercut our stores, and we get first kick at the can. And I think in BC they allow the farms to deliver to the stores, but you have to treat it like it went through the government warehouse and then to the store. Even though you're saving the government money, you still have to pay them for it as if they're the ones that were involved in the transaction. Yeah. So it's,
I mean, that sounds like, I mean, I get why you say it's like the same thing. It's just more efficient because we just hide it in a bunch of like extra shit that doesn't matter. And they're like, that's why you have to pay us. And that's,
well,
I think at the end of the day,
it's kind of,
if you allowed, I guess in the States, again, I go, if you allow farm to sale, then you can allow the taxes to flow a little bit more easily. And the government ultimately makes their cut through, you know, the essence of capitalism. But I don't understand. Like, I mean, I do understand, but I don't want to, why it's so pushed back against, you know,
so it's kind of
on a market level.
It's kind of our fault. Part of the argument why we're like, yeah, we need to legalize so that the government can collect taxes. Whoops. Shouldn't have said that part, right?
Right.
It should be, we need to legalize so that the government can collect revenue taxes, not come up with this excise tax and hit people with it. Like, so corporations in Canada, you pay about 15% federal income tax, and then each province varies because they try to make it attractive to get business in. So if they would have turned around and said, like, listen, you're a cannabis company, whether you're a processor, an ancillary company, we want 35% of all your net revenues, not your gross. And I think that would have allowed the industry to kind of flourish a little bit more, and they could collect more money. The next part is because Travis is like, you guys are socialists. I'd way rather see somebody be able to just pick up the phone, call Jeff and be like, hey, do you have a QP of, you know, Blue Dream I can grab from you? Okay. How much do you want? Okay. I'll e-transfer you the money. And then, you know, when your taxes are due, and that's the thing, you can't even bank with your cash. So I couldn't imagine what that's like.
That's the other part. So like we were talking about David, he can't claim any of that income. He cannot claim anything what he does, because everything, okay, so even as a caregiver, it's all supposed to be nonprofit. So, but the federal government won't play along. So it has to be actual nonprofit, meaning you have to make up losses so that you can show it that you didn't make any money. Like,
so Canada, we have a similar program available. So yeah, cannabis. Thanks for clarifying, Travis. You threw me off there. So I lost my point. Can you just what were you talking about? And we were talking about employees, the taxes.
Yeah. Oh fuck! No, I forgot.
What's up, Corey?
It was the topic.
Yeah. So people should be able to just call up their friend and do it that way, and like those revenues are, it's all tracked. The not-for-profit thing. Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's
so
where it has to be all nonprofit and has to basically, like, if he was to report, he has to basically show losses, like basically show the state that, yeah, I spent this much money on inputs and electricity and water, and this is how much I sold everything for, and this is how much I sold, and it all balances out to zero. And they just trust. They don't even ask for receipts. You don't really get audited. So as long as you stay under X amount of thousands, if you can show that you're under X amount of thousands a year, then you're in that nonprofit category, no matter how much you actually make. So, but because it's not federally legal, if he was to go apply for a house like a house loan, he can't show any of that as income. He's not allowed to be like, oh yeah, I make this much money a year, because it's not federally legal. Even if he was able to make a profit the way a nonprofit could make a profit, like, it doesn't count actually. So he has to basically have like and this is everybody that's a caregiver, you basically have to have a legal revenue of income in order to be like an actual caregiver. So you have to really be passionate about it. And then the way it's set up is, even if you are a caregiver on a level that's gotten to a point where you can generate revenue, you're the only guy that can work it. You're not allowed to hire outside help. So if you get up to like your 200 plant count, you can't have people come in and help you trim legally. You can't have any of the perks of what it is to be a business, which I know a lot of guys are really tired because they've been doing it for a few years.
So we had a similar pathway in Canada. I'm not sure how it works anymore. But you can still register as a designate grower. So like, if you were my neighbor and you're like, I need you to grow my weed, we go through the process. It takes like 12 weeks to get the license. Once that's set up, and I'll have to go and look, but so before, you used to be able to charge capital cost only. So that gets into that whole realm of what Dave has to do is like, yeah, he can't make a profit. He can charge his capital cost. He can have it so that growing the weed doesn't cost him any money.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So yeah, we still have the designate program in Canada. There's only like personal use production and designate growing. So there's 30 million people that live up here. Only 16,000 people are exercising that avenue. Back in the day, Health Canada couldn't come in and like, they didn't come and inspect these gardens. Now they are. And there's about 200 of these personal use out of 16,000 that have some sort of inspection with compliance going on. So yeah, that to me, that that's like, to circle back to my earlier point, is that community healer thing. That's how plants have always worked, right?
Yeah.
We all know a guy, old dude, buddy from high school that we can phone up and, hey, do you have any psilocybin? Like, we all know that dude.
Yep.
We all know him.
That
Peter,
was
you're
fun.
back. You got any thoughts on this?
My past half
thoughts
hour was my wife's mom got mad at my wife, and my wife went over to her house and made me come, and I was like, why the fuck do I have to come?
You're backup, bro. You're absolutely support somehow.
Yeah. So
you're there to
anyway.
agree.
Let me see. Jesse texted me. Let me see if
that was a baller conversation, Jeff.
Bro, for real. I'm into it. Like, because that's the important shit that I think everybody forgets about. Like, how do the people producing this make a living, and how can we make it fair for everybody to actually make a living doing this the right way? Whether it's a homegirl model, whether there's a way to do it on a commercial level, but it's really about like the people doing it. How do you get them to give a shit about it? And that's through being able to make a actual career out of it. Being able to stay in this point of, I can retire on this shit and be good with it. And then even in a legal world where you've got national legalization, it doesn't seem to, doesn't even seem to be a reality. So,
right. My whole thing when things started to legalize in California, that was kind of my happy time. And I think for a lot of people, because you saw talented, competent, qualified people who had been doing it forever making a living. And I think when to me, the main thing is the government, distorting the market so that commercial operators who make shittier, inferior quality products somehow, can bring everybody down. Basically, it's like when all these companies start with aspirations to become the biggest name in the weed game, and they raise $100 million each, and they all are like, we have no problem blowing through cash to gain, market share, shelf space. I always bring it back to the, well, I won't give the analogy, but like when you have 100 companies all trying to play that game. Yeah. So like if these guys got out, if all these different markets, California, Colorado, Canada, Germany, France, were set up in a normal, rational way, I always thought that people like, all the Emerald Triangle growers, all the way down to small, hustlers, the Rottens of the world, could easily survive because they're creating quality and talent. And so the point is, like, does everybody deserve to make a living in weed? No, but if people are talented, there should be a rational way, like a fighting chance, right? Like it's not guaranteed, but there should be, like, if I'm good at something, right? If I'm a good musician,
I don't have
ideally I can make a career out of music and not have to like, get it. Like I had, he passed away, but our friend Mackie, he was like a big brother to me growing up. He was one of my brother's best, Michael, who's 4 years older than me. Mackie was probably the most amazing saxophone player I knew, or ever. Like he was exceptionally talented. And his day job was a soul sucking. He would do the graveyard shift at like some Wall Street investment bank surrounded by people he despised, right? Working midnight, like the graveyard shift, like doing data shit just to pay the bills so that he could be a musician, which was his passion. And I think in the weed game, it's basically like if people could grow great weed and get it in front of other people to then decide whether they want to buy it or not in a rational way, like that's why the Jeff Jade Nectar, it's like if Jeff can invite people to his farm, just like a Napa winery can invite people to come get liquored up and rip roaring wasted on a bottle of wine, but then leave with a case of wine that they purchased, Jeff would survive, right? But when Jeff has to depend on distributors and then retailers in a market where the playing field's tilted against him, where, you know, I always use the thing where like he's wearing a, you know, every small farmer is wearing like a weight vest running a marathon.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you, Jeff.
My name is Hef.
Everybody's Jeff. Everybody.
Well, and that's just it. If you want to get in the market, you've got to be like hitting the ground at max speed. There's no like, oh, let me get up, you know, let me slowly build up. If you don't have it, then at least at this point, you're pretty much like already scrambling just to break even, and that's not fair. I don't think like it pushes the people out, like Peter was saying, that has a true talent for, you know, growing. And that it's so hard because, like, I think you were saying earlier, Damon, it's so murky out the gate. And I don't know.
I actually, it was Future Cannabis Project that like made me realize this. And all aspects of weed are better when they're free. And so there's layers to that statement. You know, the plant itself without any regulation, better. Sharing amongst your friends, better. Getting free seeds from somebody that you know and you respect, better. Right. And then, you know, like that's the money's the root of all evil.
Amen to that. And
so like the most, because like I really didn't pay attention to any social media except for like the MMA. The Facebook group was called the MMAR Coalition Against Repeal, and there was a few thousand of us in there, and that's the only thing I really paid attention to. So then when legalization popped off, and one of my buddies is like, hey, this is how you should like kind of approach this thing. He showed me some people, and I'm like, I don't want to be on a 62-foot yacht doing bong rips without my shirt, without my shirt on. Like, put your shirt on, man. Like,
put your shirt on. You know, it's funny because that's one of the things Brother Mendel and I talk about a lot. Is there's this element of cannabis, like I don't know if it's culture or what, that's like gone to let's pack a leaf blower with 3/4 of a pound of weed and blast it in our friend's face. Like I get the stage presence of that. I get some people, but I'm like that's so much excess in my mind. And then like I saw somebody on, I think it was on YouTube, do like a 10-gram dab. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I can appreciate the theatrics again, but at what point is that just a waste? And I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do by any means, but it shows like where it's gone to. You know, it's basically frat boy keggers. And I'm trying to be like, that's okay, but let's not forget this part, right? Let's not forget that this is a healing plant. And while there's room for that in a small element, I think there is room, you know, like alcohol at one point was not this thing that was primarily focused on getting wasted. Like it was like medicine almost. You know, it was used as like medicine.
Hole's got a really good point. Those dorks don't even nose dab.
No,
so
I'm telling you.
I think that is what the secret handshake has to be. Is right. Have you done a nose dab before? Okay, you're cool. I'll talk to you.
Right. Okay, we can get on the level.
Yeah.
Now the next point is: have you done a 5 gram nose dab?
No.
10 gram?
No. The worst thing I had, the most abuse I've, because that's what it is. The most abuse that I've ever done is so this is going way back. A friend of mine, her dad may or may not have grown. And I went to the house one day, and then the dad left. And when I was leaving, there's a 7 gram bag of weed in front of my car, just under the tire. I was like, what the fuck? So I was like,
that was
that's, I can't prove or anything, right? I talked to my friend, and she's like, yeah, my dad probably left that for you. I was like, well, I was just, you know, like, what do I do with it? Yeah, my dad probably just left that for you. you found weed. I was like, okay. I couldn't roll joints. I made my other buddy roll a 7 gram joint for me because I didn't want to hold this stuff, right? Like, this is back in the 90s when a gram could lead you to 6 months in jail. So yeah, so that's the one and only to like I'm rolling 7 gram joints right now, but it's CBD weed. And then I'm putting a snake in it. And that's what I'll smoke like throughout the course of the day. So, but it's CBD weed, so I don't really consider that like abuse.
I mean, and
I didn't need to smoke that 7 gram joint when I didn't have any legs or anything. So, but that, you know, that was.
I mean, for me, it's hard because like I've done, like, God, there was one time. I just wanted to see what 1,000 milligrams was like. That is in excess, but I did it, and that was an interesting Super Bowl party. My mom was just horrified. But I think that for everybody, it's a little different. Like, I think, you know, what is abuse? You know, one time, I mean, yeah, that's a little bit excess, but I don't know abuse. Like, do you smoke a 7 gram joint every day when you wake up? I would, you know, if that's like a thing where you're like, oh yeah, I have to smoke an ounce a day, I would be like, I think you have a problem.
On my bad days, when the chronic pain does kick in, edibles, absolutely, I'm above 7 grams.
But that's okay. So, but that's what I mean. Like, so now we're getting into this element of like, well, I consume an ounce every day because I have like chronic pain, and that makes it happen. And you go, oh, okay, I guess now, because like it's so hard when you start like talking about abuse, right? Like, because I take, along with smoking cannabis, I take 150 milligrams of anti-epileptic medication. Now, I could stop consuming cannabis and probably have to take more of that medication. But at the end of the day, like, I have to do that every day, morning and night, no matter what. So from the outsider, that looks like abuse. They're like, you're smoking weed in the morning. That's like, you have a problem. I'm like, no, I have a medication. Like, what? Right. So it's so hard to like label, but I think there is this point where it goes beyond like medical use. And I don't know how to explain it other than it's like, I do this for clout, not for medication. And so at that point, like, have your THC, have your whatever you want. I don't care. Do what you want.
So, and you raise a really good point. It's twofold. So when it comes to medication, we have no right to say fucking tickety boo. But
I don't think I've ever heard someone say tickety boo.
I'm Canadian.
I'm unfamiliar with tickety boo is that a common Canadian vernacular? Like if I were, could I weave that into a conversation with Canadians I cross paths with?
Maybe. So, and just to highlight the point, yeah, 20 grams of dried flour is 2 grams, right? So how many grams of dried flour for a 5 gram dab, right? Like, is it a 6% yielder, 5% yielder, 2% yielder, right? So, but that's that clear distinction we need to make when it comes to medical use. It's nobody's business, but whoever authorized the use, the doctor and the patient. Everybody else can get the fuck out. They can't say tickety boo. I don't even know where that came from. Like, I think my grandma used to say it to me.
I love it.
Yeah. If there are any other Canadians watching, can we get a confirmation that that's a saying they may have heard?
Yeah, Corey's in the chat box under one of his.
Who just popped on?
BioVortex, but the
that
camera.
Is Jesse.
Yeah, the camera and the mic need to be connected before you can add them to the stream.
So Jesse, if you can hear us, you gotta, I don't know if you're on a phone or a computer. I don't know if your security settings. Let me see if Jesse texted me. Okay. If you can hear us, you got to turn on, or you got to connect your, or allow your phone or your camera and mic to connect, or pick a camera source and a mic source. Anyway, we will wait for Jesse to do that. But yeah, no, I mean, my, getting to what you guys were talking about before, I mean, that's like my whole, like, I think myself, people in the FCP community, like, I see Tony in the chat, right? Like, I would love to see a world where Tony's making a comfortable, stress-free living breeding, where Lobster's making a comfortable, stress-free living growing and getting it out to connoisseurs, where, like, that's the world I want to live in. I don't need to live in a world where Burner, opens even, I think of Catalyst, like he's, weed for the people and all that. But then it's like, how many shops does Catalyst have? And then how many shops is enough for Catalyst to have to be sat? Like, is Catalyst just going to keep on like becoming Starbucks? Or there he is.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I was joining on the computer, but it couldn't recognize my mic, so use the phone.
So how you doing?
Yeah, solid.
Pretty good. Cool. You can hear me all right?
Yeah.
You are coming in crystal clear.
Awesome.
In high definition.
Awesome. It's a super foggy, kind of wet, almost raining. It's been raining from the sky all night, without raining, kind of just the super high humidity. It sounds like it's raining because all the trees are dripping, but just kind of that fall feeling already in the early September. But yeah, just a lot of seeds are plumping up nice right now, and still holding up to all the pressure is really nice.
Nice.
So, and what's kind of this year's projects?
Well, one of them, like one of the ones I'm going to be harvesting pretty soon, was doing a lot of my favorites, but actually just putting my kind of favorite classic OG, very much the SFV classic OG type, cut reversal onto a whole bunch of my favorites. So I have a bed where I just wanted to make a bunch of, just bring that OG hybrid to a lot of different things, just the super classic taste I've always loved, because it's like, it's one of those things you never get bored of. You always like that taste and the effects of it. And I've really liked the ways different OG hybrids have worked with a lot of the crosses I've used. So thought it was kind of a fun way to bring a lot of the classic varieties out in a just with some added gas and that kind of like OG hybrid thing that happens with the kind of a larger, taller plants with some of the cushier ones. I really love the Black Dog OG hybrid a lot. They come out really great in the effects, having a little bit more gas, but being really well structured and beautiful, like Black Dog, and having that kind of pixie stick and berry and full kind of earthy cushiness mixed with that extra spike of gas, which already is in the Black Dog, but like I really like how the hybrids bring out a little bit more of those, the higher potency and a little more gas and stuff. So I did a bed where I have the 2012 Black Dog selection. So it'll be a Black Dog OG. I put the hazelnut selection that Julian from Dab Logic made a long time ago. That it's just been an amazing hash variety year after year for the yields and the qualities, the flavors. That's the mother of G Nut too, the hazelnut G Mob that I did a lot of work with as well. I also have a Gmob 437 in there too, and I love like OG with Gmob 2, which it already has SFV in there with and Banana OG and all of that, but having now with the classic OG reversal on it, I'm calling it OG Mob 437, and the 437 is a selection out of 1 year with Dab Logic. All of the plants were numbered, and the Gmob block was the like 300s and 400s, and so we made the actually had taken clones of everything, washed everything separately, and everything did great, but all the ones with the best flavor that were over 7%, we kind of cataloged exactly how much they got, and so kept a lot of those ones from the top of the list. One of them was an 8.3% return too. But the 437 was one of the very highest, and just had a really nice mix of all the qualities, and just produces crazy. Like it just throws up all of the spears. It's not too late. It's got the nice mix of like pretty good size flowers, but also separated, so you don't have that mold potential, and it's really easy for fresh frozen harvest. But yeah, really amazing for production, vigor, size, resistance. It kind of does well anywhere, and just completely stacks the second it switches over into flower. So have the OG Mob 437 happening. Another one, the Icy Nana Dog, which was an incredible hash selection. Yoop Crew did, and it was a mix of the Banana Dog from me, ice cream that Banana Dog actually from me that Green Source worked on, then Garden of Grease put onto Ice Cream Cake, and then Yoop Crew selected, and then they got back to me, and then I have been breeding with because it really has like great qualities from all of those varieties, like mixed in, super vigorous, high yielding hash, and it's got a really just like, it has that banana, it has that ice cream like and gassy smell, and it just is incredibly resistant and grows really fast, flowers really well, stacks nicely, and has kind of perfect trichomes for catching too. And I ended up using that for another hash reversal project. Couple others in there too. I put key lime pie. I really love key lime pie.
Nice.
So the old cut of that, I did a lot of
I
stuff
have a
with
bunch
that.
of chili verde going right now.
Nice. I did one really interesting one. I did a reversal key lime pie onto green crack, which I just want to see what those flavors come out like. I think it will be pretty interesting and cool. And I put some key lime pie onto a whole bed of cherry lime dogs, looking for really good the last year's feminized cherry lime dogs, looking for just like really nice resistant. My favorite smells from it. They're all really consistent, but it's nice to like be able to have them all next to each other. And I'm just going to pick the couple favorite plants that with a couple key lime crosses with that. But back to that OG bed, we got banana OG, so banana OG. We got the key lime pie OG. There's puppy breath, really nice selection of a actually it was a Black Dog SFV dog with a dog's gift that had like that really nice kind of bubble gum and puppy breath kind of like flavors with the Black Dog and gas, and really beautiful, consistent line of seeds. But it was really hard making selections from that one because they were all just really gorgeous. But Royal Key here in Arcata does a living soil indoor. We've done a lot of really cool selections from their rooms, and they ended up choosing this one puppy breath that was really nice. Like I went into, and it was one of my top favorites too. So we agreed on that one, and super gorgeous. You can look at the Instagram, see the flowers of that. Kind of reminds me of more of the back in the day, old 90s, early 2000s kind of herb and stuff, a little more Bay Area kind of. But just putting OG back onto that is nice. Let's see. Other ones, they have a select. There's let's see, who else sticks out on that bed. The Mandarin OG will be really nice too. The OG just going on to that classic super citrus hashy variety I've been breeding with for a while. Like there's the Mandarin dogs, Mandarin lime dogs. There's the Mandarin G nut. A lot of different. There's Mandarin P funk, but it always lends that super nice kind of tangerine citrus, just like right when you first open it. Not like and lit more gassy, and a little more candy than like. I don't like every orange, but this is one that I've liked so much since the beginning. Since like first working with that selection, it was just like, and it breathes so true to bringing that one over. I've just continued working with that one a lot.
I was going to ask if there was something you kind of had in your stable that you just breeds perfectly to everything. You know what I mean? You hit it and it just does so well on everything it touches, and it just seems to perform the way you expect. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think some of the best ones on that, like, well, Black Dog going on to things, it's so consistent, like in what it does in structure and flap, that there's so many things that it works so good with hybrids on. And although like there are bigger hash yielders and higher percentage THC stuff, like it still it doesn't like take away from that, because it has amazing trichomes. It makes good hash on its own. It's not like a Gmob like kind of level, but it's finishes so much earlier. And so like even breeding Black Dog and Gmob is really nice because you still get amazing hash qualities. Black Dog's won. Remember it was in 2016 or something. Like people were like, "Oh shit, Black Dog won the Eagle Clash," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know." It was guys who grew it out in Michigan made some and brought it out. They also won High Times Cups with it, but it had a really nice. It had that great kind of, or that purple blackberry pixie stick, gassy, thicky, cushy quality. But it was super nice. I got to see those guys like last year, and I hadn't yet like totally met and connected and stuff, and except for just like Instagram and things like that, and other friends in common. But it was cool to like catch up and hear about how much they like that cut of it. But Gmob, speaking which, really does work well for bringing super hashy, funky, complex, high THC, and really diverse terpene profile. It definitely has the funk and gas and banana stuff in there. You can recognize the GMO influence, but in a way that's like completely, it's not just that in your face funk. It's like kind of like, oh, we've cooked a little longer with the mushrooms and onions and garlic, and added some banana and added some SFVOG and some Black Dog, and actually the Dab Logic hash from the Gmob, actually especially the one that Radical Herb did from straight from my seeds. Radical Herbs is the farm from Tending the Garden to the film we did featuring 3 amazing farms who all won the Regenerative Cannabis Farm Award at the Emerald Cup. It's Green Source Gardens, Radical Herbs, and Bryceland Forest Farms. And it's up on the Future Cannabis podcast to check out too. But Radical Herbs grew this row of Gmob that made some of the most amazing hash. That was like some of my favorite stuff of that year. Still right now too, actually pull that out of the freezer all the time because it's like, it just fulfills what I want. And the terpene analysis actually had the most diverse terpenes that they had ever tested, and they test like thousands of plants all the time through those years. They did a lot of testing, both for R&D and for quality control and products on the shelf. So that was like pretty cool to see. It was like, oh wow, it's got all these qualities, and it's like it's hard to explain them all, and it's like, oh, that makes sense. You know, it's like so complex. The G-nut, the hazelnut G-mob cross really just made everything so hashy. That combo worked really good, and actually leading up to that, the banana SFV dog, that was the one that made the G-mob, and so that was like, and everything that hit turned into super hashy variety. And like that was actually one of the ones that Royal Key selected a couple of their other like kind of flagship stuff right now, the iOS, which stands for the I Only Smoke OG selection, which was the hammerhead with the banana SFV dog. And it ended up like OG like. It's super like, and it's the way it grows, the quality, very gassy in the smell. But it has the banana OG trichome, so it just like dumps, which is just awesome combo. Yeah, high yielding with very OG like qualities. But like everything from that pollination too of that banana SFV dog turned into like something amazing, including the G-mob that continued going on. There was the Nana breath that was awesome too. And then last year I actually did a bunch with making the motor breath G-nut combo. Like I grew out a lot of those plants and got to see a whole bunch of them out at Newcomb Farm too, as well as a bunch of other places. But there's a row of them that was just so consistent. Every plant was spears from the bottom all the way up, and just like all heads coming up everywhere, just absolute workhorse, completely resistant. And like, yeah, Dream Fir, Fresh Frozen yielded fantastic. Every plant was like just really similar. So it's like, and it was like a very like kind of a sweet pillow of gas with like complexity behind it. So it made it really nice as a breeder to be able to like bring those qualities and consistency and not necessarily overwhelm the flavors of something else that you might want to bring out. So I did a lot of crosses with that. Another really
wild. I was kind of reading an article that was really into like a breeder's cut is not necessarily the same as a grower's cut. And sometimes you're not necessarily selecting for flavor and smokability, but you're really trying to push a certain trait forward and almost stay at the profile of what you really want to bring forward. You're just trying to build more structure to it to either increase yield, resin production, you know, and I always seem to ask that anyway, but it was interesting to kind of read this article and then, you know, bring it like, okay, yeah, there is talking to a breeder who is looking more at structure and structure of the trichome more than, you know, necessarily flavor.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's pretty important too, but yeah, with the hash qualities, it's like, you know, it's like, oh, I might really like a super limey or super cherry flavor or something like that, but that's not gonna necessarily work in hash or something too, but that might carry really nicely into another variety. But yeah, they're just really, the quality of the trichome is incredibly important if you're doing hash.
Oh yeah,
like, yeah, it's like you got to look at the standee, but it can't just be that. It has to be delicious, and I also want resistance and vigor. And
that's what I mean. Like you have a plant, like you could have a plant where you're like, oh yeah, anything I touch this to, the trichome yield goes up significantly, and its offspring just maintains the flavor of whatever I crossed it to. Yeah. And that's not always the case, but there are like certain, and it doesn't necessarily, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily smoke the best on its own, but when you use it as a breeding, you know, as a breeding tool, it ends up increasing whatever it's you're working with, where you're going, oh man, I wish this would just yield a little bit more and it would be perfect on its own. And you go, oh yeah, I've got this, I'll bring it to the table. And it's this concept of like, yeah, I'm hunting plants out as a tool versus just to cross them together. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, using the as a tool, because once you've seen, what happens in the next generation, then you know what that tool might be good for. And you never know necessarily with some pairing something completely different how that will. But yeah, I try to keep that in mind when doing things, and I definitely want to do some experimental things to look for myself too, but have a pretty good idea how certain pairings will come out. And it's always really nice to see that they do when you walk the fields. And because yeah, there's nothing more important than like farmers being successful with the seeds that you grow. And yeah, so that's hugely important to me to see. The G nut was pretty crazy in doing that too. It definitely increased the yields in ice water hash, but also massive potency too.
Right.
Like, was it Moon Valley Organics? They do the one of the best living soil indoor. You'll see just super diverse soil, completely alive. They have all the beautiful companion plants. Dichondra is a really nice cover that they have for everything. If you look in, you see the worms and earwigs. You see just piles of castings that are being like built up. Definitely diverse community of microorganisms and larger and fungi, bacteria, and they're constantly doing ferments and growing their own stuff too. So they actually even grow banana trees inside, and they had a pumpkin patch on the side of their spot last year because they were doing so much stuff. They ended up with seeds, and all these pumpkins like started growing from their compost, and they had this huge side of their facility that was just growing a bunch of pumpkins. And so that was pretty fun to just like go wandering in this little magic pumpkin patch outside the grow, and they use that all into more ferments. And so they're just constantly feeding the plants with really diverse, really delicious ferments, and they're really serious and thoughtful and about how they do everything. Really well engineered, but maybe the best living soil example I've ever seen indoors, especially in a commercial market. But they've done a lot of really nice selections over the years too. They had a nice gorilla dog that came from seeds from, I think it was like 2014 that they got from me, and in 15 they brought them back, the flowers, and they were so good, and it was just like, oh, they even had the jar gorilla dog and everything. It was super cool to see. But they put those seeds away and ended up cracking them again this or two years back, and got a nice little batch of them, and we're making a selection. They ended up, the number 4 and the number 8 had won out as their top ones. They grew out again, and they were both awesome, but number 4 ended up winning. But it was kind of funny because it was a Black Dog BC4 on the Gorilla Glue number 4, and the number 4 selection out of the Gorilla Dog is the one. So it's Gorilla Dog number 4. And yeah, that one's delicious, strong, just has the right balance of both those varieties. Good for pain, washes nicely too. Yeah, the hash on that was really, really good. But they did a G nut selection, or they showed me the analytics from it, which is yeah, I'm not like a THC chaser or anything, but I am a high yielding hash chaser, and sometimes those things go hand in hand, because higher THC content, I think, makes for more stable trichome, and also more trichomes makes for higher potency potentially if there is THC in there. And certain terpene combinations seem to be better for high trichome, for high hash yields, like, so you don't have too high of certain types of terpenes or building up in a way where the trichome would actually just kind of oil out or grease out when you touch it, or burst, versus a very sandy trichome like a banana OG or G-Nut would be.
Definitely a very specific resin composition that goes into making good hash for sure.
Yeah.
And that, that balance is definitely on. And I've heard some stuff about CBG, but for the most part, like when we're talking about what goes on in the commercial market, like, yeah, essentially a higher THC content usually results in a more stable trichome, or I guess that would be the other way around. But yeah.
And often see high beta carophylline. For some reason, limonene is often in the top 3, almost always too. which goes with like great flavors and stuff. But it's kind of strange because that's an actual like solvent, it's used for cleaning, delimonene. So it's kind of funny that like that one, what is it exactly? And myrcene so often is in the top 3 because it's such a prevalent terpene. But if you go like above like a percent myrcene, then it becomes more greasy, like when the content goes up too high. So it's hard to like exactly know, but we can see like what we see, and it normally see beta carotene, limonene, myrcene, linalool, visible, but never see terpinolene, and things like that.
It's hard to distinguish too, because we were talking, I think it was on another episode, we were talking with somebody, and like limonene really can show up in a bunch of different ways. And so that like, who knows, there might be a few types of limonene specifically that really structure well. And that might be the same thing with mycene. Like you're talking about, like they're really up to a certain percent. And that might be like, oh yeah, we're talking like this aroma profile before it starts crossing. So there's so much nuance, when you get into it, but it is like on a surface level, it's so crazy to think about that greasy, tacky, sandy are really the things that where it starts, right? Like, oh yeah, we're able to observe this. Now let's send it in for the lab. And we're like, oh, yep, more of this every time.
Yep. And the greasy leads to some of the tastiest flowers, but it's not necessarily going to yield an ice water hash. Tacky is quite often great. And sandy's is so easy and stable.
Yeah, easier to work with. 100%.
When you say limonene can show up in different ways, what do you mean specific? What ways of showing up?
Like,
or flavors or
like
analysis?
Orange. I think we were talking like orange, lime, all the citrus stuff, but then like even pineapple. I can't remember the entire what he was saying, but it has like different, and I'm just trying to remember this off the top of my head, but it's not just like lemon lime. It can show up as like orange. It can show up as grapefruit. It can show up as like pineapple. Kind of, I guess, I think he was saying like more it represents that whole everything we really consider tropical really lands in the limonene area.
Well, I think like tropical, a little. So like a lot of things like papaya or stuff like that, linalool is kind of one of those tropical things I think that people are experiencing sometimes. But for the citrusy, the limonene, I don't like you can have 2 different things high in limonene. One tastes like orange and one tastes like lemons and cleaner and something,
but
like
still
some of the banana
like
G-nut
composition of the limonene. That's what I think dude was saying.
I think it's probably more stuff that we don't test for though, like the thiols and
100%.
sulfate-based like compounds that are leading a little bit more to the full orange smell that we get to. But then again, when you clean with like a D-limonene, it has a very orange smell, but it's actually made from orange peels. I believe a lot of the cleaners we get because of the citrus industry, all of that is a byproduct, right? If you're making a bunch of Florida orange juice, then you have all those peels, then you can just extract all the D-limonene terpenes from those peels and then have that as a cleaner. And so some of those fully smell like orange. So limonene does have that, but I think when you're getting the deeper orange and some of the gassy things and skunky things, then we're talking about things we don't test for and totally should be.
Well, it's just going to show up as limonene. It's not going to show up as like limonene and the spectrum that limonene shows up like that actually is limonene. It's kind of the way I understand it. It was basically like limonene is there's a spectrum and it depends where you're landing, but it's just going to show up as limonene on a test, which is it's hard. Like I'm saying, it's like, so you can have all these different singular profiles and it's still limonene, but it's a different composition of limonene, which is wild to me. And I wonder if mycene is kind of the same way, where it's like we just see it as mycene, but there's almost like a spectrum of the composition of that profile. I don't know.
So like not just the limonene, but the other limonene structure.
Say what? I'm sorry.
Oh, like you're saying other limonene, not just D-limonene, but
Yes.
like the other version, like of the similar molecule.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm so like new. This is so like nuanced to me. So I would have to go back and watch the episode and listen to what dude was saying again, because it was quite a while
We
ago.
need to send the Jeremy Plum bat signal.
Yeah, I know. For real.
He actually mentioned the uniqueness, I think, of Gmob a long time ago.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it as kind of a unique profile?
Sure. Yeah. At the Emerald Cup, he actually was with Sam and Julian from Dab Logic, and we had the Radical Herbs Gmob, and Jeremy was there, a dear friend. Yeah, when he took the dab of that, he was just so you just saw his mind just like what, like he was just absolutely excited, and like has talked about it since as like one of the more full, rich, and diverse and interesting like flavors and effects that he'd had in like a long time. And he's one of the most kind of brilliant and lovely people in the space. Been a dear friend, brother forever. We used to actually do a event called the Cultivation Classic up in Portland, Oregon. And that was it was an event that we did. Was it freaking, was it 2014 or 15, the first years? It was very science based. So like all of the entries, well, first off, actually everything had to be like organic, and all of the descriptions of the growing practices were all included. And it was kind of like early in the development of the Regenerative Cannabis Farm Award concepts too. And so we actually like had all that information from all the different growers too, and their actual techniques behind attached with each flowers. And all the analytics were done really well too, where they made these beautiful posters too, where you have all of this is early on in analytics too, like people didn't see that much, but we had the full pie graph, and then the bars of all the cannabinoids, intake picture that was large and beautiful. You could fully see the flower, and then everything was organized really well, so you could kind of see the space of like where these different cannabinoids and terpenes were lining up, what was similar and different. Like you could see certain trends of different varieties, and how similar some things were, and how in all of the diversity too. Like there's some things that are often present and other things that aren't. And so you could see like, oh, some CBD are going to be higher in terpinolene or ocimene, and then a lot of these higher THCs might be beta-caryophyllene, limonene, and just it's just nice for people to just kind of start to see it that way. We had a whole wall that was just like this. So like think about 150 some entries just all set up on the wall in those really nice posters that were about regular poster size. Though that was like really cool. And then we also, that was the second year, but the first year we actually had before everyone came up to get their award, they read off their growing practices. And it was actually Earl Blumnauer, who is the U.S. Representative for Oregon, the actual congressman, read out the way they were growing, and he was like tripping over all these biodynamic terms and sprouted tea enzyme, like all of these things that he had to read out specifically about soil building and mulching and growing practices. So that was pretty fun to hear. And just, combining all those things, those were really cool community events. And we gave out Regenerative Cannabis Farm Award there too, to Green Source Gardens, as like one of those first winners, Pilot Farms as well. And amazing event. Stopped at the time of COVID, but it was such an amazing thing to kind of plan with Jeremy. We started off just like having a cool conversation and writing stuff down on a napkin, like getting some food, and he ends up finding a perfect event planner, Steph Bernhardt, and teams up with the Willam Weekly. He's like, let's do this, and flies me up, and then we plan the whole thing and build it out, and it was really cool. But anyway, he was on the show, I think, with Voyager, with another amazing person, Voyager Genetics, Chris Levitt, another brilliant guy. They were both talking about all kinds of stuff. But then some of my varieties got brought up, and it was really sweet to hear how much they enjoyed certain ones, and growing out and tasting, and they were very, very kind. But two brilliant people. Definitely check out Voyager Genetics and anything Jeremy Plum does.
I've texted him 3 times now, and so like the problem with Jeremy is we never know where in the world he is. Like, is he in Colombia? Is he in Toronto? Is he in
Hawaii? Is he in Wakima? Like, that's the other. Overseas. So he does a lot of work with for terpene production and growing hemp terpene in Washington, and has really helped innovate the large scale production in more in environmentally thoughtful ways, and also incredibly thoughtful in terpene preservation, and working with the already existing technologies in hop terp preservation for beer making. There's a lot of work that's already been done, because it's like if you're growing something for terpenes, like it's pretty important to preserve those. And when you do something on a large scale hemp, you're basically losing everything in the way that normal harvest might go down, unless you're taking plants really quickly and getting them in a cool environment and processing things as fast with as little damage as possible, as far as hurting any trichomes with heat and all of those things. So basically utilizing, and in a hop area too, but utilizing existing technologies that are already out there in cannabis to bring really, really awesome terpene production through good farming practices too. It was nice to see that his mind go to those kinds of projects. But yeah, anyway, he really liked the Gmob. And yeah, the complexity of that one. Like I said, I still pull out some of the same from that batch just for that experience as well. What other? Yes, but the 437, really love that selection. I just saw someone post about it yesterday. They were like, pulled it at 65 days because if it goes any longer, like last time he said he got it, it would get him too high. It's just like, just for a functional thing, I'm taking it down a little bit early. Like,
yeah, that's always nice to hear.
Yeah. So that was a cool post to see, and the production on it is just awesome. It just stacks like crazy, and just super easy for if you're making hash or flour. It actually it works great either way. But it dumps so hard that I normally always gets frozen, but it's cool to see it in flour, because it's quite potent and tasty too. Also doing the 392, which is more of a on the purple side of the Gmob selection, where the 437's more of the green side. The 392 was also in that. I think that was it could have been the 8%. Yeah, that was the 8.2. And I used that in the original Gmob back cross to make the G nut too, which was, so it was I took the Gmob and put that onto GMO again and made a back cross. And I used that back cross to put onto the 392. And then so I had my selection from the first year of Gmob that was super high yielder, that I then hit with the GMO Gmob from that first year onto it to make the 392 BC1. And I used that to hit the hazelnut that makes the G nut. And I put that G nut onto the Chemi Jones, another selection from Julian from Dab Logic in Colorado, that has just really awesome qualities, brings that kind of fun chem flavor over. And yeah, hash is really nice. But those came out really chemical, funky, gassy, and the skunk on them was crazy. Just washed them from Nukem with Jay from Arrow Solvent List, and he's one of the best people in hash too. Arrow Solvent List, just awesome guy, and quality hash. But we made this. We were doing a wash from the Chemi G, and immediately the skunk hit us as soon as we opened the bag. It was just like boom, like just thiols in the air, and you could almost see it too. Like, I don't know, there was an extra kind of little thing that was happening with the hash that was you had to be a little bit quicker with it, a little bit greasier, not greasier, sorry, a little bit more of this skunky, like, it wasn't greasy at all. It's very standy, but once you had the trichomes, it just wasn't the same level of stable as like a Banana OG or Gmob on its own. It just, and I think some of that was like this kind of skunky oil coming off, but it yielded fantastic. Just had to work a little colder and faster with it, but it was just absolutely delicious. If you're looking for skunk chem potent hash yielders, Chemi G's really highly recommended. But when I first dropped the Chemi G, I did the song Regulators that with a G-Funk song, but it had Kenny G doing the horn melody part of that. And Warren G rapping, so it was like Warren G and Kenny G doing Regulators, and yeah, I just thought that was super funny and nice for the Chemi G release. What I found out is from my friend Tasso, who do a lot of music projects with, he did the full score for the Tending the Garden soundtrack with me, and he was like, do you know the G-Funk? He was just like, G-Funk, oh yeah, that's the 392 hertz frequency. The G on the G-Funk G is the 392 frequency. He just said that randomly. I'm like, what? It was the Gmob 392 that made the Chemi G. And I just thought that was like a fun thing, that the actual frequency of the G-Funk G is 392 that went into making other Gmobs, G-Nuts, and the Chemi G specifically. But I just like where music and strange coincidences like that mix with breeding. It's like, yeah, that was meant to be. Definitely.
Yeah, when it's not intentional and it works
Yeah.
out like that.
So, I also did Chemi, already did the, I put the Chemi G onto OG. So Chemi OG, pretty, like, OG is so nice to be able to name things too and not make it complicated, because farmers, I always like write out like, oh yeah, Gmob 392 times GMO backcross BC1 or Black Dog BC5 F2 times, like, yeah, like a million things, and they're always just like, what? Like, I need to write something on a tag, so if I just write Chemi OG instead of Chemi Jones times Hazelnut times Gmob 392 times GMO times Gmob BC1. But yeah, I got to do all the parentheses and write. It's like, for me, it tells me the stages and each year and all the things, and but it's annoying for farmers. But
well, that's just it. Like, there's a certain point where all that information is good for you, and I think, if they ask and you disclose the whole lineage, I think that's respectable. But I don't think it's something that has to be disclosed like right off the bat, because like you said, they got to write it down and sell it to their customer, and they're not trying to write a whole book.
Yeah, no, I just, yeah, I mean, I'll text them the same thing, that like the whole thing, so they have it in their notes and know. And a lot of people who are thinking about breeding love to have all that. And like on Alpine Seed Bank, I put a lot of that info up, so like a lot of the varieties that are available, I have the whole backstory. And maybe it might not all be in that one cross, but at least they'll let you know the other variety. Then you can go look at G-Nut, then you can go look at Hazelnut. Yeah. So
yeah.
I do include a lot of detail, and even like stories on how selections were made and stuff. So I do try to include that, so people can just go to the reference. But it's nice just to have a name like Chemi G or Chemi OG instead of all of the other things. Yeah. And then I did a whole bed of the classic Black Dog 2012 reversal, just kind of onto all my favorites too. So I have like one bed that just has the classic OG, and then the other, the Black Dog that led to everything. That's still like one of my favorite things. Finishes fast, resistant in this super wet environment right now. Turns super dark, and yeah, just it as a hybrid, it works so good with everything, and it takes out a lot of varieties that might have some intersex issues. Black Dog almost always just takes it right out. I've never seen a Black Dog female ever herm in anyone growing in all of the years. Never seen a female herm without like making it.
Right.
But a lot of the males year after year look more and more female, you know, prettier and frostier and stuff. But it's a very, but I've also done so much back crossing onto the mom and stuff too, that it's so stacked in that femininity in a way too. But it's just been
Have
kind
you
of
ever like
interesting to see.
looked for something super hermy and just tested it to see like, and it worked it out?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And actually, yeah, and especially when like there's amazing flavors like the cherry lime dog, the HGAS cherry lime pop, like Mean Gene gave it to me and he's just like, this shit is like one of my favorite things. It's insanely good, and I grew it out, and it would probably do good on the coast and all of that. It wasn't very bad, but it expressed a little bit of intersect. It had the like bottom
Right.
female flower that like grew on the bottom of the stalk, you know, and so it wasn't ones that he was gonna put out, you know, but it was like, I know you can do something with these too, and
Right.
in that way. But like the flavors were just incredible, did great on the coast, a little taller, and not as sturdy as what I like for not having to do any kind of support or anything. I really like to have plants that you don't have to do anything. Where like,
100%.
because I breed for like this on the stems going out too. Like I don't ever have this where like the bottom just falls out, you know, or you get a little light rain and your branches break. Like I don't really want to have to do much caging, so I like the structure, the geometry that's going to hold up well, the right kind of morphology of a strong base, the right angle, the right spacing, and then also in a way where you don't have to de-leaf that much, hopefully. Like it's not just this bushy mess all in here, but it kind of just grows how it should, for not trapping a bunch of stuff inside. And but anyway, that first cross on it immediately, like I never saw any real issues there at all. I did another one with SFV dog and the cherry lime, and I did stress test some of those, and then so I was able to see a couple in the population by just doing a funky dep on them, and then weeded those out, and then didn't see anything after the next generation. But no, it immediately like worked perfect as far as like combining those two, and for bringing a morphology that like just is really nice to grow as far
Just
as like stable
robust,
and
holds
funky.
up well.
But what I ended up doing with that is I ended up making the a back cross onto Black Dog again. I put it back onto the original 2012, and then out of that generation I did a sibling pairing. So I made the BC1 F2, and I made selections from that group that I just really love, and I've been continuing. And that's what the selection. It was the 2B10 that ended up going into that one. And I'm growing some of those lineage out right now with the key lime pie cross, but done multiple from that one. But putting it back onto the Black Dog like really made them incredibly stable and cushy and all like similar. But choosing the one that had that same lime pop like blast of that euphoric ambrosia mixed with the berry and gas like Black Dog, I just super love that combo. And Mean Gene's growing out some of the newest Black Dog, put back onto the 2012 like femmes right now that are it's actually the Paul's Gift, which is a 2015 selection from Paul's Boutique of Maine, put back onto the 2012. So it's like the first seed issue of Black Dog from Humboldt Seed Organization that everyone loved, put back onto the mother. And so a lot of those ones like are really nice. And so he's making some selections hopefully from that one that shine nice this year. He also did other great stuff with the Black Dog BC5 F2 with Gelato 33 and Cherry Limeade F5 that were like fantastic. I see my phone is at 2%. I think it's about to die, so I'm gonna have to sign off. But it was nice talking with everyone.
Nice talk, dude. Thank you. I always love getting a breakdown from breeders because it's just, to me, that's the best way to understand, you know, if you're really looking for something specific. So it sounds like you got the hash game on lock, my man.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a big interest year after year. I always do at least like a third of my breeding towards hash, like very specifically. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys.
I got a favor before your phone dies.
Too late.
Get a hold of Jeremy and line something up because it'd be cool to have the two of you on here. But I think his phone died.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Peter's got a bunch of background noise.
Oh, I'm
So
like,
we'll
what
fix
is that?
It's Peter. I think he's too far away from his computer right now. So then, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, and Jeremy just texted me. He wanted to join, still on his call with his doctor.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He had to charge his phone. So yeah, we need to get Jeremy and BioVortex on here to talk. And then Peter will unmute you. You still there, Dad? No, he's not there.
No. So it's, the whole hash thing changes a lot of stuff, kind of going back to like what we were almost talking about earlier. Like, it reminded me that, you know, the breeders in the game still can have like an impact on what's happening in the market. You know what I mean? Like, as long as there's some rosin out there, I think people end up are ultimately happy with what they can get. So if you can get some good stuff that can produce some quality stuff for very little work, at this point, I feel like that's a good place to move. I don't know. It's cool. It's just cool to talk to breeders who are working on something specific and they're super passionate about it. And they're really like driven for a specific thing. And then it shows up in the commercial scene. You know what I mean? Where they're getting good feedback from commercial growers, and they're getting good feedback from the home growers, and they're getting good feedback kind of across the board. And I think even from the consumers, they're getting good feedback. And that, to me, I'm like, okay, now it's starting to line up. How do we make this to where, like Peter was saying, this person can make a really comfortable living and just keep doing what they're doing till they can't anymore?
Yeah. Most of the license. So in normal business, and like I'm gonna tell everybody, water's wet or hydrolytic. But when you start a business, you got to carry yourself for 3 years. And if you're not profitable in that business by year 3, it's probably time to reevaluate and pivot, you know.
Is it down to 3? It used to be 5.
Oh, I've always said 3. If you're not profitable in your 3rd year, like, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And yeah. So, and if the best, actually, it's funny because when I was in my early 20s, I had big ideas, and one of the old timers around me, he turned around, he's like, unless you have the capital, you ain't doing shit. So you just kind of sound stupid here. Like, I was like, oh fuck.
Damn it.
I wanted to ask him if his OG Kush, if his pistols were ever pink. You know how they sometimes get that pink streak to them?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask
that's
him
going
that.
on right now, actually.
Yeah. I like your oranges. They're nice plants.
Thanks.
Are those gonna finish on you? I can't remember if you said.
I don't think they'll finish outside. Yeah. So I'm gonna move them into my greenhouse. Like, I'm waiting as long as I can, and then I'll move them in the greenhouse, and then they'll finish.
So are they
all the way into January with that thing with just a little heater? So
are they in the ground?
No, they're in pots, like 5, 7s, and 10s. And I was really hoping they wouldn't get that big. And now I'm like, fuck, I should have just put them in the ground.
Yeah, no, they are nice plants. I'm asking because I had to dig one up because where it was in the ground, it wasn't feeding properly, and they didn't dig it up properly. I did it on
I thought about doing them just in the ground in the greenhouse, but I've been battling this bug issue, and no matter what I do with beneficials, and I refuse to spray anything, and I don't have enough. I think it's enough air movement. Like I need more air movement in that thing and a bigger exhaust, because the thrips and the mites just hang out in there. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, I'll just let them go dormant and then move plants. And now I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm just gonna completely like weed barrier the ground off and then do living beds after I let my greenhouse just sit dark and get hot over a whole year. So I'm gonna sterilize everything outside and then build beds, and then like hopefully I'll be able to control things a little bit better with some better ventilation and smaller plants, and I don't know, growing pains.
Yeah, I'm not an outdoor grower. My stuff outside is purely ornamental. Purely ornamental.
So I have been growing indoors for so long, and I got the greenhouse because I wanted to really be able to transition from indoor to outdoor. And now it's like a personal challenge, dude. Growing outside, I feel like, and really taking that on, I feel like a beginner grower again. And I've got this whole new passion to like figure out how I work that ebb and flow with Mother Nature outside with my plants. And like the one crutch I get to have is being able to either grow in the greenhouse completely or finish in the greenhouse. You know what I mean? And I have to sacrifice something when I do either one. So if I want to just finish in the greenhouse, then I have to have movable pots. If I want to just grow in the greenhouse, then I sacrifice like that full outdoor experience. You know what I mean? So, and I'm trying to figure out how I can gain that with like a push of a button, because I don't know if I'm going to do light dep again, but I have the motor and all the stuff to be able to really fuck with the tarp and green. So yeah.
My environment is very unhospitable. Like I'll get 95 mile an hour winds because I'm on the top of a ridge. And so it's not even a light depth problem with me. It's more of a wind problem, and you can't change the direction of that. Good luck.
Nope.
Good luck.
Nope.
I had a greenhouse, and the wind came through, and like I didn't even bother repairing it. Just no, we're done.
I think your only option in that scenario is seriously like dig like 8 feet into that frozen ass ground, and then have like a tiny little, just like a few feet off the surface of the ground, and then you don't have to worry about wind and everything stays fairly warm, I think. But yeah, that would be about the only way I think you could execute greenhouse status where you're at. Just be underground.
That's kind of what was suggested to me. Digging about 6 feet down, and then doing kind of like a lean-to style, and face it south, and then my north wall just straight dirt, and but then I need an excavator for that. I have enough space. I have enough space. And so Dr. Levy's jumping in with us and going to show us his outdoor.
All right. What's up, Doc?
Those are all right in the ground. Do you till at all before you put your plants in, or you just throw them in the ground?
The holes are there since 2019. So I use the same holes every year.
Nice.
This year I just used a post hole digger and dug enough to put the plant in. That's it.
And then the grass and everything just comes back around the base. That's cool.
Yeah, it all grows in the grass. I put down like llama or a pack of manure or like cow manure in like early spring. So it's sitting there going in the ground like a couple of months ahead of time before the
Is that
plants
just
go.
like a low rise grass, or do you mow around those plants?
Yeah, yeah. I left enough room so I can go through here with a mower, push mower, and you can go like side. You can go on an angle through them and stuff. It's pretty cool. But I haven't. I'm not going through them no more with the mower because the grass is flying. I don't have a bag on it. I had
Right. So
one
you
in
don't want to
New
get
York with
that
a
all on your
bag.
flowers.
Yeah, so I stopped doing that. And I have a mower in New York with a bag that someone was throwing out, and I have a small engine guy down the road that tinkers around with shit. So I grabbed that, and we'll see if we can get it running. And then maybe next year I'll use that at the end of the season. You know what I mean? So nothing gets
Yeah.
on. So these here, okay, these here are going to be. I don't know about this one, but this one and this one is coming out um, on the blood moon in a couple of days. These two are like ready. I got to look at them with the jeweler's loop. This will work pretty good, maybe. But I was looking at the one. This one spread out pretty good. The branches, okay. I got to bend them down like this to keep the airflow, this wind, nice wind, and keep them opened up, you know. And over here, wait, hold on a second here. I have gloves. I should be putting on. Let's see. I hate these things. This is going to be medicine. I'll show you what's going on. Okay. Over here, this one here is getting ready. Another one here. So what I did is opened up these branches like this, bend them down because they were too close together. You know what I mean? So now,
Yeah.
and I picked up, just open them up, and I picked up all the fan leaves out of here. There goes a shovel. Um, Pulling off some of these down in between here because I found a little moisture in here before when I was just pulling the yellow leaves. Because this one's coming in, so like this here, I left these on here to show you that it's getting close, you know.
It's got a nice fade to it too.
So you know, let me see if I can zoom in. I got these gloves on now. Let's see if I can zoom it. Oh, what happened? Looking real crafty.
Not a big
So
yielder, but like definitely covered in frost.
yeah, now down here, I seen this. It looks
Uh,
like it's dying a little bit right there. That's why I opened it up because
yeah.
it could be. I don't like the looks of that. Like that one there too. Like it might be a PM starting to come. I don't know yet, but there's my camera. Can't get the camera there. So it made it darker. But that's why I'm opening them up, because there was moisture in there. Let me lower this. Uh-oh. Okay. Stuff like this I'm pulling out just to keep the air and this loose here. So I'm doing that. Everything else is a little behind here. This is there's like different ones.
Yeah,
It's all the same. It's all
the
the what?
the chat box is saying that it looks like bud rot.
Yeah,
Botchers.
a little bit there.
I
It's not quite bud rot, but it could be just dying off, or it just yeah. It looks like
you'll
something.
know tomorrow for sure when you wake up if it's spread through the flour.
Yeah, no, that's not going to spread. I don't think. If I open it up and get the air through there, it's what do you call it? Moisture
Yeah.
build up and cause that kind of. But that's why I open it up. So we'll see. That's coming out Tuesday. I mean, 2 days from now. On the
Yeah,
on
it's
the 7th.
time.
So then I got these tomatoes here. Been picking a lot of those. These already turned red, and yesterday they weren't. So this one got blown over last night. We had another wind, and I took some soil and put it down here. I was going to tie it to the fence, but that seems to hold for right now. And these were a little knocked over where I had to put some soil around them. It's the wind. You got some kind of weed growing next to this one. So I don't. Oh, I got it. Now this one here. This might be the purple haze. I'm not sure. You know, look, that one or that one. And then you get tomatoes. There's a CBD. I had the, what do you call it? The sampler came here a couple of weeks ago and tested it. Sent it to the lab. No, he sent it to the lab and it passed the USD compliance. So the wind is blowing pretty good today. We have, this is Chad's plant here. Let's see. This is one of Chad's plants. And this one's a mystery plant. I had to tie it over this way a little bit because it was covering this one. We have one of Hooley's, the grape Hooley. And this is a couple other plants. I'm not sure. I gotta look. This thing over. It's good to dry the plants out. They can have that bud rot, you know. These things. That's a show cross. Over here we have two of green fingers plants getting into early bud. A couple more of his plants, and then his purple stem. And then this is the volunteer that came up. I don't know, it could be the government cheese was over here last year. Not sure what that's from. And these are Mr. Toad's plants here. They're totally ghosted. And that one's pretty bushy. That one there is pretty bushy. Nice stem.
So most of your plants are what, like 12 feet high?
These, yeah, I
9
gotta
feet?
mention, these are pretty tall. They're taller in the back here. I went to the New York farm yesterday. The deer did a number of it. Well, I had the sampler come up there. They took a sample. They sent it to the lab. So I'll know probably by next week, the middle of next week, end of next week, the results on that. Now, the results came back on this and it passed 0.10. Okay, and it was high on CBG. It is CBC in there too. And so now there's still a couple of weeks. That was like 2 weeks ago, Monday. So this Monday will be 3 weeks. But the ones that are early finishers are coming out in a couple of days. So these, yeah, we got a ladybug there. I might lose you. There's a big one right over there glowing. And there's a couple. He took a sample. Let me see if I can get through here. I might be able to squeeze through here and not lose you. Because I used to have a camera up there running off the router. There's a plant here. It's growing pretty good. The compost pile's over here, so the roots run down
Oh, we
in
lost you.
front. So like in the year when I pull them out, they run down this way. These are the same holes too for years. Okay, one year I took a pitchfork and turned every inch over and pulled out the grass and was pulling out rocks.
We lost you, doctor. You're too far away from your internet.
That I find that if you don't use a pitchfork, you're gonna break them.
We're losing you.
Yeah.
This is the hill. I usually come up here and water first, but I yesterday a little bit of rain last night, and tomorrow I get like 6 inches. So I'm just gonna let them work for what's in the ground, and it's gonna be severe weather. So I'm gonna have to come in here and pull all these yellow leaves off. But right now, I gotta concentrate on ones that might be ready. Now this type would like almost like a Dr. Grimspoon type got tested yesterday in New York. And let me see if I can get down here. Yeah, they gotta be a 10-footers, maybe 12s. Let's see. Where is that one? It was this one?
I think we completely lost him now.
Right.
Yeah. That's an awesome garden, though.
I know. It blows my mind how big it is. It just nonstop continue. Every corner he turns, I'm like, holy shit.
That's for the sample.
Oh, you're back for half a second. Oh, there
really
you are.
zoom since I'm wearing gloves. Can't really zoom in, but the ones that look like ready soon. These branches can be opened up a little bit. It's not as tight as the other one. Oh, this one here, pretty tight. Try to open it up a little bit. We got this stinging nettles here growing wild. I got some seeds drying inside for Peter wanted seeds. So I grabbed some seeds. And they're hanging. This is the one with the purple. I think he sampled one of these on the other side. They did more of a earlier finish. And when I first seen these things growing, I said, these things are going to be spears. And basically, is what they are, you know? They're like a spear, and even the branches, when it comes up. But these here, this is, I don't know, I might lose you. This one here was one that I measured with a 2x4, and I think it was over. It was the one in the back was over 10. This one was a little under or something like that. 10 feet at one time. And this one flowered up pretty nice out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you know, I'm watering down here. I water all in between the plants. And I could shoot the hose up in between there and this way and get in between the plants so the water leaches and the roots go for the water. Of course, I water around them, but when it's like when I can catch up, I'll water in between. So when I know it's going to rain, that's already opened up the ground to leach because the leaching already started.
We lost you again, Doctor.
So this way it has an extra head start
It's
to
like
the.
the secret phrase or something. I just say we lost you, and then boom, the video comes back, no problem.
I think I'm back here. Let's see if you can go look in here. I don't know if the lights are on. I think the lights are on.
More plants.
I know, right?
I'm playing with these plants under lights just for the hell of it. Oh, I have let me go in here. I have finally go through the jungle here. Let's see if I can get in here. I think I got a lot doors closed up. Oh, that side's open. Let's see. Yeah, looking good. Okay, these are the seeds. I got them hanging there for Peter. And over here, okay, these are the northern lights that I was spraying with toad venom. And they were outside, then we're getting regular sunlight. And I haven't seen anything happening. But now I'm seeing male. So it is working. It just took a while. I think we got some male sacs coming on. So this is the Northern Lights number 10. I'm going to get some feminized seeds from it. I got other plants around I can dig up and bring in if I want to do another plant with the pollen. I think I'm going to do that. I'll look for a nice looking one, bring that in, and hit that with the pollen from the sisters. I mean, the same plant, same cut, whatever. And then I got hillbillies here. That hillbillies, one of his Dream Lotus something. So they were in the garden and they weren't flowering yet. So I brought them in. I found 2 males, one there and one there. And this is a female. This is one of them. So I think I'm going to hit them with the Northern Lights pollen for the hell of it. I'm going to ask them if I can do that, you know? And that'd be cool. Yeah. So those are drying. And what the guy said earlier that was on, I don't know his name. I'm busy as just listening, but eventually I'll know his name or his handle or whatever. But he said, like, you want to dry it slow. So I noticed that I got 4D hums I can use. 'Cause I used to do cannabis. I switched over to hemp. So I got 4D hums that I need if I need it. But I used to open up the door on both sides and then have airflow right through, you know. And if I had a lot to come in and do, I would have to do that kind of, you know, if it was too much moisture in here, I got the 4D homes, then I'll open the door, get some fresh air, you know, and on them. And, you know, if I have to do that, but with these, I don't think I have to do that. I think I got to keep this place cooler and darker. You know, that's why I made these. We cover the light for now. I made these all along the side, so and to keep the humidity right when I'm drying it, because like he said, you don't want to dry it fast. He was saying to keep the terpenes. So you're gonna do it at a slower weight with not much of a draft going through. I mean, I had what do you call it back in '81. We had the Afghani that came in on the in the northeast here, and I missed it. I was in Chicago. I came back. My friend had the seeds, so he's like, "Hey, let's grow." I was like, "All right." So we grew it, and it's in high times. Queens Afghani and Vermont Afghani, but we grew it on Long Island. But he had that weed because he knew the guy, one of the big guys. So yeah, so we grew it and we put it in like an old garage from like, oh man, it was like early 1900s, like an old garage. I think it even had, I don't know if it had, yeah, it had doors that opened, but it was a few cracks in the sides and, you know, like that. Not, you know, little ass spaces. So we nailed it shut and we didn't go back for 2 weeks. And then we went back and it was like perfect. You know what I mean? It was like kept all the smell and everything. And then I was breaking it up or pulling all the leaves off it. And I had old finger hash from it. It was like the freshest black hash I ever had. I mean, you know, so we used to get black hash by the pound. So you thought that was fresh, but when you get it right off your fingers, totally different.
We
That's a
lost
beautiful
you
cut.
again.
I had to talk to my friend that is a grower. He said dry it fast, lock the flavor in, and then dry it slow. Put it in paper bags and put them in plastic bags, and then you you throw them in the plastic bag, seal it up inside a paper bag, and then like a day or so later, you check it, and if the bag is like moist, you let it air out, dump it out, let it air out for a little bit. When it gets crunchy again in the bag, you put it back in there again, and you close it up, and you keep doing that until you think it's good enough to go into a turkey bag or something. So basically, I have to do that because I have so much. You know what I mean? So last year I was using the big paper leaf bags after it was dry for like shit. I was going 5 days last year or 7 days, depending if I had more to come in, because I had like 5 different harvesters, 5 different harvests. You know, I had the autos, and then I had some, I forget what I had. The regular. I did the Blue Dream, and then I did what was it, the Mendo Breath, and then I did, I think it was something else. I guess the other plants, like I had like Mr. Toads. I got a couple in Green Fingers. I think I did that. I think that was an earlier harvest. I think I did one of that earlier, and then I had the Thaiweed land race. So I had like 5 different steps in harvesting. So they went into big leaf bags after they were dried for until the stems snapped a little. You know, basically hadn't, good enough. If you hear a snap, put it in the bag, the paper bag, and then put it in a plastic bag. So I did that last year, and I even got those little humidity and temperature things on Amazon. You get like 10, you got about like 10 at once. I throw one of them in there, and then I can go in there and check the humidity and the temperature. And this looks like the one that got tested in New York, kind of. Yeah, yesterday. This one's a lot further off. The one in New York is like halfway down the road, so it's gonna pass. But it's the deer got them. So next year I'm gonna have to get a fence. I'm gonna have to do something, keep the deer out, and yeah, hopefully it's a nice wet year. It's so dry up there. I couldn't. I had to go truck in water by the drum. First, I used up 800 and 750 gallons. No wait, those things were like 400, 274 gallons. I think in one of those square totes. Forget. I used 2 of those to start out when I planted it, and then I had to truck in water in drums for the next, few weeks, just to keep them going. And the deer was hitting them. So I'm gonna have something out of there, and it's gonna be tested, and this way I'll have another COA for this plant right here. That's the same. The same. I even got some sampler. Let's see. I got some in my truck. She goes, "Oh, I can't put all this in." She's like, "It was a small little plant. I wanted them to test because I got a couple of other ones tested." And let's see. Oh God. This is what they sent in. So they took it off, and I grabbed it. And this way I can bring it in look at it with the scope, see what's going on, and try it maybe and see what's going on. I just rolled a joint. What was it? Mendo breath, and I put some of the CBD in it. I broke some of that up and rolled the joint. I got pretty stoned on like a couple of hits, so I think it does have the, a little more effect to it, and a little bit of CBD in it. So basically, they're doing good. These got longer to go, but like I said, they look like going to be like spears.
Yeah, everything's looking good.
They're going to be spears, even these branches. They're going to be like spears. When what do we got here? A visitor. You see that?
Yeah.
It's yellow in the middle.
Oh, looks like ladybug larva.
No, that's it. Wait, let me see. I got these gloves on, so it's hard to. Here we go. Now, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Definitely a bug. Oh, the wind.
Yeah, that's ladybug larva.
No, it's yellow and it has legs on it. It's yellow and it has legs. See the legs? See the yellow?
Yeah, I see it. I'm telling you, that's a baby ladybug.
It's big. Whatever it is, has like a yellowish stripe in the middle. And I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. I've never seen ladybug larva. I know there's ladybugs here, but that's
Yeah,
going to produce it.
that's what they look like before they turn into a ladybug.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Third stage.
Look, there's the ladybugs here. Where are they?
Yeah.
Yep. I bet you'll see more of that larva around those plants.
Wait, where's this at? There's one. There's another one in there somewhere. Yeah, they're around. Another one up there. Yeah, they were doing it on another one over here. They were going at it on this plant last week. The ladybugs are over here. Oh, what do we got here? Up here they are. Well, what's the matter with that one? That one's really digging in. Yeah, so leaves like this will be coming off so they can get the airflow through. I'll put them in a bucket. Put that one over here.
Look underneath. You might have aphids all over those leaves.
Yeah.
No,
There's
I
some
don't
plays.
see it. That means, well, the ladybugs wouldn't be here if they weren't got food. So this one getting eaten up a little bit by something. But it isn't that bad. They're looking real good. So the ladybugs will take care of everything. And I got a bucket over here for the leaves.
It's looking good overall. That's a big farm.
Yeah. And then I got a freak show over here. I got a tomato here. And these little plants these were little CBD plants that I put in there like 2 weeks ago, and I thinned them out, and all of a sudden they're like 2 foot tall, like just like that, like boom. Yeah, those are all little ones. I figured I'll put them over here. This soil right here is like gold. Yeah, this is like gold here. A little cloudy today. Dump truck banging his tailgate up there. And we got, this is Mandarin Sunset. I got two of these, 1, 2. And there's one behind there somewhere. And I think there's an AK in here somewhere. This might be an AK. An AK, I'm not sure. And then I might lose you back here. See, there's a camera. Got one of them. I need to. Oh, that one there is the melon cake. That's melon cake, and that one there is the Mandarin
We lost you.
Sunset. Oh, this tag's getting too tight. Exotic genetic.
Yeah, we keep losing you, Doctor.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff.
Well,
I'm sweating my ass off here. It's hot, and I got a black shirt on. So I'm like soaked already. So I'll catch up with you later. Thanks for having me on, Peter and Damon.
Yeah, no.
Thanks,
Well,
Doug.
it's Jeff
I'll
today.
tell you,
Friday
Yeah,
mornings
Jeff
are Jeff. Yeah, Friday mornings is Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah,
Jeff.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Man. I gotta learn people's names. All right, man. I'll talk to you guys. I'll
Thanks,
jump
Doug.
on
Yeah, thanks
another
for
time.
sharing, boss.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, man. Later.
Later. And I think Jeff's phone died. Oh no,
I'm still here, I promise.
So
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? We can hear you. You
Oh,
can't
son
hear
of a
me.
bitch, of course. I got a phone call.
Do 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 do.
Damn it.
Send it to voicemail. Do, 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 do. You still there, Jeff? And you're frozen.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm
Check
still
one,
here.
check.
Yeah, I haven't killed the stream. Oh, you're muted now. You are muted. Now you're unmuted. And now you're gone. Okay, chat box. That was a good stream Jeff did. Like, subscribe, follow. Channel 1, Dr. Matthew Indest. Tonight, 7 Eastern. So yeah, I'll see everybody later. Toad, thanks for jumping in. Oh, Jeff came back, so I'm not going to kill his stream.
I was going to say, I was just coming back. Maybe we could just kill the stream. It's been 3 hours.
It was a good show. Good show today.
Yeah, no, that was killer.
Yeah. Okay,
was
end
fun.
your show.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining on. I appreciate it. I've been off for like the whole week, so it was cool to be able to do like a whole just 3-hour segment without me having to dip out early. But it was fun. Damon, thanks for the stimulating conversation earlier,
Yeah.
and then we got to chat a little breeding. It was good times today. Good times.
Yeah. Okay, I'll hit end.
All right, guys. Much love. Thanks.